Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Jan Garcia, and joining me as always is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I feel like the last weekend was rough with the Galaxy loss.
Yeah,
really,
your mental
really rough
breakdown.
time.
Yes, yeah. We had alluded to in the last episode that by the time you were listening, the results were in, and the results
We're not great.
were not good.
Yeah,
We're not good.
It's-
And it hit Isaiah like a middle school first breakup. Like this
oh
man and I
my God,
give my all to have just one night with you.
Yeah,
But they
man.
used Ricky and Painsil and the other injured players.
And like I knew going into it really quick. This isn't gonna be like whole topic, but like going into it, I knew that was gonna be a rough, slim chance for us to win. Right, but I at least thought it would be maybe end in a tie.
Maybe that's part of why we didn't win, because they could feel
No,
the lack of faith in the stadium.
It is not why we didn't win. They had nothing but faith. They just
It's
came
part
off of this the MLS Cup win. Everyone was celebrating, hooting, hollering. They did the little celebration. They brought the trophy out. Ricky walked with his little gimp leg. He walked the trophy out, and like everything was all good. It was all great. And then the game started, and it was like, well, I mean, they're playing soccer. They are playing the sport, but man, it wasn't looking good, and we lost.
It wasn't good, but I've seen worse soccer, so I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely some a couple key mistakes, and we did not do our famous. They scored, then we scored the next couple minutes.
Yeah,
they scored, and the time kept going.
Time kept going. Yeah.
And I said, I think we're done. We're done here.
Yeah, man. It turns out when you only have one of the killer P's on the field, it really takes a hit. Like the team.
Yeah, we got a lot
really
of new people
struggled.
as well. So there's just, and also, it is possible that San Diego might be kind of good.
Oh no, San Diego, they looked great. Like
I think also they're very unknown as well, so no one knows how to play them because they haven't existed before. But yeah, it's funny because again, maybe this could be its own topic one day of. I don't know. Like you're spoiled, you're bitter, you're, I know like a lot of people who both watch the show, maybe even know you personally, will know that you are a big Care Bear. You're warm, you're jolly, you're happy, you're nice. You have like this great smile because you had your teeth fixed when you were a kid, and
you just stop there.
Carried through. I could stop there, but that's not the full story, is it? Because, and me, I'm neurotic, bitter, tightly wound, small. You're normal height, blah blah, right? And yet, when it comes to some things, we are flipped. Where it's like I am very hard to shake and break down. I have a lot of like optimism and faith in me, and also I have a lot of resilience for like just I don't know. I'm from Chicago. These teams, it's been hot and cold many a times, and sometimes you only get a little bit of glory in sports and in a franchise. I don't think that's the case for the Galaxy. I think there are good things to come. Again, I think we do have a great team. I think we're on the upswing of generally the trajectory of the franchise, but yeah, I do think you are spoiled in sports. You're sportled, and also
hey,
like,
man, I was born and raised in Buffalo. Right?
Something
I feel like I paid my
you,
dues.
I don't know what it is, but you're like, it very much is giving the the last year there were 35 presents. This year there were 34. Like I think Isaiah, we just like won the cup. Like we lost one game, and you're like ready to. And then now I'm scared because I'm like. The season tickets, they are in jeopardy. Because I'm like, Isaiah's not going to be doing season tickets for a team that sucks.
No.
What?
I'm not.
I'm going to have to go with Edwin or somebody. Or like find some more soccer friends. I'm not saying that we necessarily should if they suck. Suck is strong. But also if they suck, their tickets probably get a little cheaper too. So hey,
it's even cheaper? Watching it at home.
I know,
right?
but I like going to the games.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
too.
This could be the one and done because Isaiah's so...
No, one and done is very strong.
He's so how he is. I'm like... Wow. I'm like, you know what? Hey, saving me some money, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is.
They have an away game. What is it, tomorrow?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how they do there.
To this. The cursed. This podcast is like cursed. Also, I'm toxic. So like I want them to win. Of course, they're our team. But with the loss, I'm like, I can't wait. Let's listen to that Corner of the Galaxy podcast. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they already put up an episode or whatever. I don't follow that podcast very closely. I don't even know if I wasn't maybe one full episode. But they're kind of like the Galaxy podcast. And
really good.
Yeah, and I know you and Edwin listened to them, and we were listening to them in the car while I took my nap before the game. So yeah, maybe we'll swing back and do some more breakdowns because also some of that food, the streets are saying that food was good. The lie detector determined that was a lie. Okay, that
the
burger
were good, but that burger
was dry.
The burger was a little tough.
Dry as hell. I said I ain't never ordering this again.
It was affordable.
It was affordable. Yes,
it was more affordable. So I'll definitely give them that.
So I'm like, was the food good or was it cheap? That's different.
Yeah,
that's very different. That's very, very different.
All I know is my chicken fingers and fries was like $16, and I'm like, that's a pretty good price. That's like normal outside of a stadium price for.
Yeah, like it wasn't too bad for contextually, and they tasted fine, but they weren't like.
They needed more sauces. They all they had was ketchup. Like, what am I don't want that. Ketchup is great for fries. Give me some barbecue sauce, some hot sauce, some something. Anyway.
Also, the new vendors don't take the discount.
No,
because they're not like fully in the stadium yet.
It's still like what was the Benihana's, I think it was, or whatever.
I don't know.
There was something there, and they were like, oh, we just rebranded.
But yeah, the best meal you can get there. The jury's still out. Those shout again to those cookies they sell. Those
cookies might be the best.
Yeah.
Follow closely by the wings. The wings are pretty good.
But yeah, so the point is Isaiah cannot take losses, and if he's like 2 losses away from like scalping them tickets, like I swear to God, this man is like, I did not come here to see this. I came here for luxury. I did not come to be part of a community. I did not come to be part of a team. I came to be part of a winning team, and if you're not winning, it's over. Yeah, it's just, man. Yeah, it's a side of Isaiah that I know, but now other people, have the falling victim to it. Yeah, but I'm like, right, I forgot. Isaiah's a baby. Oh my God. So, hopefully, who are we facing tomorrow? Do you remember? Is it Vancouver?
Vancouver. I think Vancouver Whitecaps.
All right. Get ready, Haley. Haley doesn't live in Vancouver, but
she represents Canada. Yeah,
Haley gets all of the country of Canada, so hopefully we can beat Haley.
Yep.
Yeah. On my day. Yeah, I was like, why was I seeing San Diego? It was because I was looking at it last week. But anyway. So anyway, that's that. But you're doing better now.
Yeah. No, I'm doing great.
Yeah, he's recovered.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna mentally recover from this. Yeah. That's good. Okay, well, let's get started. In our game section, we are continuing with our time capsule. We are about at the halfway point. The Nike Run Club reference for anyone who uses the app. Halfway point. And we are now at what I call this generation. I call this the new retro. Because this is retro now.
It is.
But it's like new retro.
It is retro now.
We're talking Wii, we're talking DS, PS3, PSP, and Xbox 360. Are going to be the consoles we cover. In previous episodes, we did... actually, let me zoom back out. What is this, Isaiah? What is the Gaming Time Capsule?
Yeah, so we are building the Games and Not Games Time Capsule, Gaming Time Capsule, where our goal is to build the best, however you want to define that, most diverse, highest quality, whatever, the best collection of games across the big three, but only like one game per console.
Yeah, I will say, I think, because we kind of do have to define it if we're picking them, right? I think we're going, quality is the first thing we think of, and diversity is a close second.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we run the check through the diversity.
It needs to be good.
Yes, but if we start with good, and then we, I think, kind of go to like, well...
I will pick less good for more diversity.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Controversial as that is to say, anyway, God fucking forbid, jeez. So, although it's worth noting, you can't have both. Okay, it's not an either or.
True.
All right, it turns out sometimes Super Mario 64 is the best game for the job, and also, makes it a little bit more rounded. Anyway, so just let me quickly recap what we have so far. We do a holistic check at the end where we may possibly switch them up, but they're pretty locked.
Sure.
We got NES. We have we have Tetris. We have Tetris. SNES. We have Super Mario World. For the Game Boy, we have Pokemon Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
For the N64, we have Super Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation, we have Metal Gear Solid. GameCube, we have Super Smash Bros. GBA, we have Metroid Fusion. So good.
So good. I literally was just gonna interject. Game is so good.
You're so right. Anyways, I love when you're so right when you agree with me. PS2, we have GTA Vice City. Xbox, we have Halo, despite what some people wanted to do. Anyway,
you know what?
It's a new day, a new podcast. Consider it on.
Before we get into this,
yes.
I feel like
you have to apologize, Phil Spencer.
I have to apologize to apparently the Master Chief Army. Like, I was not trying to put any disrespect on Halo's name. I knew that, this is the first Xbox, and while Halo Combat Evolved is fantastic, it's a great game, it was not my personal favorite Halo game, nor do I think it was the best Halo game. Because that belonged to Halo 3. But you know what?
Maybe Halo 3 will return.
Well, the way it goes now is definitely not for me.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's get into the Wii. Is this fair to say this is our least favorite console of all of these consoles?
No. Like that we've done so far?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
No, I like the Wii.
Yeah.
Granted, I didn't have as diverse like a time with the Wii. It was very much like 3-4 games, heavy rotation, that's it kind of thing. And a lot of the games that I did play, we kind of covered elsewhere already now.
Yeah.
So it's like, well.
It's funny because, and y'all already know, I'm a Wii hater. I'll just say it.
Which is
I just
crazy.
be hating. I be hating for real. I hate this little thing.
Insane.
But I do know that the Wii has some incredible games. But then when I went to look at the games, I was like, I thought I would see more. I thought I'd be like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I missed all these. I didn't have a Wii, so this is really hard for me to even contribute to this list. I put up Super Mario Galaxy because I played a little bit of that on the All Stars collection. I know for most people, Galaxy 2 is the one though. So
yeah, sure.
But yeah, and honestly, I'm not that far into it. It seemed like a cool Mario game. It's a little weird, a little different. I feel like I just got to play a bit more of it. So, but that's my half-hearted like Mario was good this time again, right? And I kind of just throw that onto the pyre, and then you can kind of add whatever you have. But yeah, I got nothing for this thing.
Really?
And a lot of other stuff was like ports and stuff. So yeah, like Skyward Sword I never played, and I don't want to play Skyward Sword. I'm good.
You don't want to preserve?
Nah, hell no. I'm all right. I know you can preserve it. Like if people should get to play it, and I should get to not play it. I'm okay. Yeah.
Well, Mario Galaxy is on my list. I'd only played one. And even then, I don't think I finished it. I think I just played like a lot of it. You're bouncing from world to world, a little gravity, moving around the world. That's all cool. It's a fun time. But yeah, I mean, as far as Mario games go, Galaxy is not in my top.
I'll be
5,
fixing it this Mario Day. It's going to be the game I stream.
Oh, sweet.
For it, so
all right,
feel free to come through and we can apply this to Mario together, or be like, you know what? It's fine.
It was a fun time. I just, I think it was the one that introduced like Rosalina, right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
I'm like, did she appear in some side thing? I think
sure,
the Lumas are really
that.
cool and cute and stuff.
Little fat chunky stars. Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, those stars are awesome. Yeah, so thank you, Mario Galaxy.
My number one pick though, and I know you're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate it.
Resident Evil 4.
It's Wii Sports.
Oh,
Wii Sports.
I don't hate it. I just think
defined like
I think it says a lot about the Wii that you're putting Wii Sports up here. As your
I think Wii
pick.
Sports is a great game. Like it is. It's a good game. Everyone played it because it came with the system. Everyone had a good time except for you.
I didn't play much of it because I didn't have the console.
The bowling is to this day still a fantastic fun time. Yeah, Wii Sports is not easily my number one pick.
You're telling me that we boot up Wii Sports right now and we bowl together. You're going to be having fun.
Yeah. I played so much Wii bowling. I played a large.
Go to the retro store again and take it for a spin.
I'm not going to say it's good. Like maybe it's not good anymore kind of thing. But when I played it, I thought it was good. I had a lot of fun. My dad played it.
I'd be a little
my
surprised
brother played it.
if you had that much fun now.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it could be like a Rock Band, Guitar Hero kind of situation where it's like my love for it sees it with rose tinted goggles, where it's like, hey, I know that it's not the best. I can see how it's aging this way or that way or whatever. Fine. But just the act of just strumming along, the act of bowling, the act of flicking the wrists.
It is an iconic moment in console history. I would also argue that this is not Wii Sports' fault, because Wii Sports, it's a cool game. Like, I don't think Wii Sports is bad. It's just like, it's not enough for me to be like, wow, I love the Wii because I got to play Wii Sports and Wii Fit.
Sure.
It's like, that wasn't going to get my ass in the seat.
No, fair.
For me
a lot
personally,
of people who played on the Wii still just went back to the GameCube games. You know what I mean? Like that was still a selling point for the Wii. Like it totally understand that.
So there was that, but I think, and this is not Wii Sports' fault, but it is unfortunate that unearthed what if we all did motion controls, which is like one of the worst mechanics in games is motion controls. There are 5 instances where I was like, you know what was good? The motion controls. Splatoon as a franchise, actually good motion controls makes the game easier to play, more fun to play.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe a few moments here and there. Loco Roco, good, but actually, no, you don't even need motion because you just use the L and R trigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the point, Isaiah. You don't need the motion controls. They are almost never more fun.
Yeah.
They're almost always like
bowling, though.
Oh, you did. They did, yes, and they do have their place. Just Dance, they use motion controls.
Sure. Yeah.
Great use motion controls. But everyone was like, "What if I get a piece of that pie?" And I'm like, "I think the pie isn't gonna work for you." And they're like, "I think I can make my own pie." I'm like, "You're not a baker." But that's not Wii Sports' fault. You know,
it's not.
If anything, I think that speaks to its impact in the industry.
Yeah.
It's like how we're getting all these bad Balatro likes. I was like. This man unearthed like 800 mid games onto Steam. Okay, but what else do you have? Because again, I don't have anything actually.
My last slot. I don't know. You can say I'm cheating with this again. I'm kind of just dubbing it that rhythm game. So it's where I put either Rock Band, Band, you know, 1, 2, 3, whatever. The Guitar Heroes, the Just Dance, like one of those. In this third slot, this third option for me.
Okay.
Honorable mentions: Kirby's Epic Yarn, fun time. I played a little bit of that.
I did play that on the Wii U. It was all right.
Oh, really?
I think it was one of the more like
That's
okay fair. Kirby games.
Sure.
Not bad, but it wasn't like it was no Planet Robot.
Sure,
You know, it was like all right.
And Super Paper Mario. You know, and again, you know, I'm not counting some stuff like that I just didn't play, like the Zelda games on there and things like that. Just other things that I've like at least dabbled in a little bit, or at least know a little bit more of. Those are my honorable mentions. I want to start giving honorable mentions too at the end of these because you know I gotta beat the allegations.
But Isaiah also wants to cheat for some of the later ones that he has more for. I think.
No, not too many more. I just keep it to like 3.
So you have 3 regular and 3 honorable. Okay, anyway, let's fight later and focus on this Wii thing. I mean, I lean on, I guess, Wii Sports.
I'm okay with Wii Sports.
I feel like having a game like Wii Sports is very fitting for a console like the Wii.
Yeah,
really speaks to a console that it's exactly the console I think it is. So I think Wii Sports is a perfect match.
It is the only game I think in history that really like the commercials for the game mirrored what really happened in my life, where it's like the whole family is in the living room passing the controller, doing a little. See,
another reason that the Wii isn't for me, I didn't have a good family, so it's like what me and Edwin,
fair, okay.
We had Smash Bros already. You think my dad was gonna play Wii Sports with us?
My dad did. So I mean, possibly, yeah. Like I legitimately think
you'd have to come from the basement to play the console with his dad. You know, like
it was a crazy time in life. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with sports.
I had a dysfunctional situation going on, so we were not gonna be hanging out. Maybe this would have fixed our family actually.
Yeah, that's
actually why we're not all closer because we didn't have a Wii. Yeah, and before that, it's like Edwin. Me and Edwin playing Smash Bros. Melee. We don't need to play Wii Sports. Like what? Now again, if someone gave us a Wii, would we have played Wii Sports? Probably. Yeah, sure. And I probably would have had a fun time with it. You know, but it's like again, the reason I hate the Wii is not because of Wii Sports. It's because of the remote.
Sure.
I thought it was dumb. I'm like, this looks stupid. And frankly, I stand by that it is dumb. I don't think it's comfortable or good. It's weird.
It was big enough that it was pretty comfortable. I don't remember. Yeah, obviously I was a little bit smaller, so like I didn't have such big hands. But
what's the word for it? What is it? Oh, it was a deconstructed controller, which I think is odd.
But I like that. I was fine with the nunchuck being separate. And I was able to relax on the couch and do my thing when I was playing Mario Galaxy, the waggle, the Wiimote.
Yeah. Shaking the stick and just kind of.
It's better than the Switch Joy-Con.
Nah, I like the Joy-Con way more.
Easily better.
And the Joy-Con can go into a regular controller also.
Like more comfortable. It was way more comfortable. The Wiimote nunchuck combo way better than two Joy-Con. I will die on that hill. Easily way better.
I mean,
maybe not more accurate. I don't know. Technology advances, blah blah blah. But
I will say, hey, shout out to the fact that the sensor bar you can use a candle. That's cool.
That is true.
That's cool. I think that's something.
Yeah.
Let's all go around with something nice about the Wii. They made a red one that was way worse than the regular one, but it looked cool. That's cool. I like red. Yeah, the one that couldn't go online and stuff. But I did play the Wii a little bit in college. But funny enough, we didn't play Wii Sports there. We played the Mario Kart game, which was really hard for me because I couldn't get the motion controls down. Oh, okay. So I got used to it after playing it, for 12 hours or whatever, Yeah. See, we all go. Yeah, you don't like Mario Kart. Yeah.
No,
So
I have my flaws.
Yeah, that's way worse than not liking Wii Sports. There's one Wii Sports. There's 8 Mario Karts, and you think all of them are ass.
I don't think they're ass. It's just not for me.
You also don't like Mario Party, even the good ones.
I'd argue.
Exactly. So yeah, before everyone runs to the comments, the real mean one is Isaiah. He's just quieter.
Yeah. No,
he's just quieter.
Yeah.
But okay. Anyway, let's get to a console that I think we both have a lot of reverence for, the DS.
Yeah. You like it a lot more than me.
Wow.
For me, the DS, the Nintendo DS was my pocket puzzle console, my little puzzle machine. So I know there's tons of RPGs on there.
When your voice went up, I was like, this man do not like that DS.
Family. No, I like the DS fine. It was a niche for me. I played very specific games on the DS. And I did not stray away from that. Or very rarely did I stray away from that. So my first one, it was actually my intro to Zelda with Phantom Hourglass.
Hell yeah, I got Phantom Hourglass there too.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I don't think I actually ever beat it. I got really far, but I don't know that I beat it.
Really?
Yeah, I do remember that one had that BS boss. We had to close the console.
Yeah, it was so cool.
It's so stupid. But I thought this game was cool as hell. I feel like growing up and becoming an adult, this game gets kind of low-key dragged. I feel like people don't like this game. I love this game. I know it reviewed probably pretty well at the time, but yeah, I feel like people don't really speak about Phantom Hourglass very much, but I liked it a lot. It's definitely different. You kind of draw the boomerang paths and stuff.
Yeah. But I was like, hell yeah.
I think it works because a lot of Nintendo stuff, as much as I just dragged out the gimmicks of the Wii, they do design around those they commit. They're like, we don't even care if RD might be dumb, but we're doing it. We're doing that, so Phantom Hourglass definitely was in that vein. Yeah, it's funny looking at the people's. So I have that one as well. But looking at people's, top DS games, top whatever, I'm like, did I not play the best games on this console? Because a lot of the games that I picked are more, I think for seemingly a lot of critics, a lot of listicle people, more middle of the road, bottom of the thing kind of game. I guess I could kind of lower end of a top 25 or maybe not even on there. It's okay. But I really love Phantom Hourglass. Another one I have is Castlevania Portrait of Ruin.
Ooh,
I remember loving that game. Again, unfortunately, do I have super specifics to say? Not really. It was a long time since I played Castlevania, and they all meld together. But Portrait of Ruin was one of the ones that I rocked with pretty heavy.
For me, the next one I had Super Scribblenauts.
Okay,
also where I got introduced to Scribblenauts. I was like, oh hell yeah! You're making these words. You're sort of imagining these things to help you solve these little micro puzzle levels and stuff. Again, puzzle machine. I'm in the back of the car or school lunch table or something. I don't remember where I was when I was playing the DS. Yeah. But I'm somewhere. I'm popping it out because I got a few minutes and I'm doing some puzzles. So yeah, Scribblenauts definitely up there. Which I think we bought recently.
We did. I was going to mention that.
Right? Yeah.
I want to play more of it because I think that it had DLC and stuff that you could get, and I had a lot of fun playing. We only played 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something. I thought it was really cool. So yeah, shout out to that. Another one of mine, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
That was an honorable mention for me. I didn't play enough of it to really put it on my list.
Yeah.
But I do like the overall Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah. So. It's so cool. Back when these games were good. Shade was it Superstars or whatever they just made? I don't know what they made. It wasn't good. This was good. And not just because I was 7 or whatever. I wasn't 7, I was older than that, but whatever. Yeah, it was just really fun. Turn-based RPG with a little bit of one thing that's really fun about these is it's turn-based, but it does have a bit of a timing element to it to doing extra damage or blocking or whatever. And it had a really cool ass theme, which was that you went inside of Bowser, his body, and then you were messing with his insides, and then you would also control Bowser sometimes. And eventually I really want to make this list of all the different things that I like in games. I just like when they do this, that, and the third. One of those things is like when you go inside of something, like an animal, a monster, you know, like what's the Bible story? Is it Jonah and the whale or whatever? Is that the name of the story? The Bible story?
Maybe
where he goes in. Is it a Bible story actually? It is a Bible story, right? Yeah, Jonah and the whale. He goes inside the whale.
Okay.
You know,
sure, yeah.
It's also, Pinocchio uses it.
Sure,
Pinocchio uses, you know. So yeah, I'm like, you might know from Pinocchio, but it's actually the Bible.
Like a James and the Giant Peach fan.
I don't actually think I know much about James and the Giant Peach. Okay. Is he doing? Is he going inside of something?
You'll have to read and find out.
Isn't that book like 3 pages long or something?
If you quick read.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Mario as well. Mario, you know, his going inside Mario World, and it's fun in every game. And every game, it's always like, to me, I don't know how other people feel or how you feel, but like to me, I'm always surprised and delighted. I think it's done just infrequently enough that I'm like,
that's fair.
Oh my God, are we gonna go inside this? And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, we're inside the thing's brain. Like, do you feel that way, or are you just like, this is another level?
I don't think I get as excited as you, but it is always cool because a lot of times the developer or whatever, even in like movies and shows and stuff too, they'll do like nods to the person you're inside in them kind of thing. Like, you know, you'll go into Bowser and maybe you'll see like, I don't know, the skeleton turtles or something like that. And it's like, oh, does that imply that he like eats his minions when he's hungry or when he's like mad or something? You know what I mean? Like, I always like when they do stuff like
the
that.
extra lore, there's a lot, and it's always just like, wow, like it's like the inverse of going into outer space because you're going like inside, you know. It's like, oh, anyway, what game are we talking about? Martin Luigi Bowser this story. Funnily enough, I have some of my actual DS games. I don't have my actual DS anymore. I guess I just got rid of it because I think you can play DS games on the 3DS. So I was like, that's good enough for me. Kind of regret that just for like a nostalgia point of view, but that's fine, whatever. I still have all my original DS games and a couple, or at least some of my original DS games and a couple of ones that I rebought. And it's funny because the 2 of the games that appeared on some people's lists were the Hotel Desk Room 215, which I have, and the 999, the like 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, both of which I have not played. I started the Dusk one. The Dusk one. The other one is in its wrapping. I got it from our friend Ginger, who, in her words, was like, I'm getting rid of these like games that like I bought for no reason that like I don't play and I'm not going to play. So I decided to buy those games and also not play them. So, and maybe obviously she didn't play the 99 one or maybe she has in her life but didn't open this one. Whatever, right? So I have those. So I'm like, well, I have some of what people say are the best games. I haven't played them. And then I guess my honorable mention is Brain Age. The Wii Sports of the Mind, I say. Because it's like, this is barely even kind of a game, but it is a game because it's on my DS. And honestly,
it's like WarioWare, right? Where it's like a bunch of like little brain puzzles that you just do back to back.
No.
Oh, I never played Brain Age.
You know what? We should play today. I'm dead ass after this show, real quick, and you're gonna be like, "How is it? This is a workbook. This is not a video game. It is." So you have like first they like take your brain age, like see how old you are, your mind, how old your mind is, and you want to be young or whatever because that means that you're so smart. And they give you like different. It's slower than WarioWare, but you do get consecutive puzzles, at least for the brain age assessment. But they're not like random, like they're all like kind of known ones. Like so that you get one that's like a bunch of just like multiplication and math and stuff, like maybe addition, subtraction, multiplication. I don't know. I'm sure division's in there, and you just go through them and you're like using the stylus to like write your answer and stuff. Super responsive and really well made. Also, okay, cool. Then there's another one where they do that test where it's like. It's the word red, but it's written in green, and you have to like select the right color or whatever. What's something else they have? Okay. They have one that's just reading, which I know you're a slow reader, so you have to go through the pages. I forgot if you have to do something to like, or if it's just the honor system. I don't remember. It might just be the honor system, and it's like, oh, how fast you read or whatever.
How fast can I click this
How
button?
fast can you click? Yeah, I guess. And then I forgot what the other ones are, but they do it to assess your brain age, and then every day you get like either one thing or like a series of things that's like your dailies basically. And you would do them. And then when you do it, it goes poof, and it gives you this great stamp on the day. And that's when you know, like it's a day's way. They invented streaks, Isaiah. Like what we see now, like, you know, before Duolingo, actually, I don't know how old Duolingo is. Maybe it's really old. Before Duolingo and your dailies in Fortnite, okay? We were out here training the mind.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and honestly, like I've considered like I should go back to that just to like, I mean, again, is it really kind of like the Wii Fit thing? Is it really sharpening your mind? It's like, oh, studies show probably not, right? But like, yeah, I felt something back then, and it was great. It's a really, really great game. All
right.
Nintendogs, people that want to think. Okay.
My last actual choice was the DS, which I never actually played it on the DS, I don't think. But it was on the DS, and I love the game. Plants vs. Zombies.
Okay, yeah. You know, I've never played Plants vs. Zombies.
It's really fun. I like it.
Everyone says it's a very good game.
It's really good. Yeah, you should definitely try it. And yeah, you know, you're planting your little plants, you're fighting zombies, you got your little shoots and everything like that. Unfortunately, I think they've definitely killed or at least evolved the Plants vs. Zombies IP to that like garden warfare thing, and then it's probably just dead now.
Is it I forget, is Plants vs. Zombies like a tactics game?
It is. Yeah.
That's like they're in my
like
tactics gaps next to the one that everyone's like, it's the best tactics game ever. It's the one that made tactics what it is.
There's a lot of options
like,
for that.
I don't know. Like it's the one everyone always names where they're like, oh, it's kind of like I don't know.
I know I do. Final Fantasy Tactics is my go-to.
That is also another one I want to play, but no, I'm thinking of another.
I know people do Tactics Ogre, which is apparently old.
Oh no,
I didn't know that.
I don't know what I'm thinking of then. I'll hunt for it throughout our conversation. It's like such a known one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like. Everyone always compares all tactics games to this game. Like when
that's
XCOM.
like a different. Oh, okay.
Yeah, XCOM.
Oh, it is a very different game than XCOM. This is more tower defense.
Okay, it's more tower defense than tactics. Okay, but XCOM too. Well, I guess unrelated then maybe, but XCOM is the one that I own the game.
I have not played it.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, like literally Marvel's Midnight Suns like it's like XCOM, like the Mario one that they made, like
in Rabbids.
Rabbids is like XCOM, like everything they were like pointing back to XCOM, and I'm like, I should check out this XCOM that everyone's talking about. Apparently, like to people, it's kind of like the seed of that. Cool.
So what are we thinking here now? I feel the easy guess is or easy choice is Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, but
we don't have a Zelda on the list already.
But it's not even that good of a Zelda game. Like I like it a lot, but like, no, we don't have Minish Cap somewhere in there. No, it didn't make it because of Metro Fusion.
Yeah, it went up against Big Dog.
I don't know. Okay, I mean, this is tough. That's definitely a contender. I think the only one that I know isn't going to make it is like Castlevania. No offense, I just feel like do we have a Castlevania on here? Again, this also isn't the best Castlevania.
Sure,
but we do not. I just realized I have the list in front of me that I can just look at all the doc. I was looking at my own list privately. One
other honorable mention I have, and only because I've gotten into this series like I don't know in the past like 2 months or something like that. The Ace Attorney games, they're really fun.
That is really fun. I thought you didn't mention it. It's like, what were your top 3 again? Can you remind me?
Phantom Hourglass, Super Scribblenauts, Plants vs. Zombies.
Honestly, like this. And you know, it's kind of my bad because like I know there's better DS games I just haven't gotten to. Like there's a lot of like RPG stuff or whatever. Sure. But of what I played, I'm like they're not that. They're like to me the list I have. It's like a B to A tier, and I'm looking for that S tier answer. And I guess we don't really have one on
the
our
best
list.
games I played on the DS are probably the Pokemon games, but we already got Pokemon, so I'm not.
We can put another Pokemon on there.
We already got Pokemon. I'd rather get again that diversity. These are good enough games that I think. They make the quality.
Maybe we should just do Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. Then we don't have a Castlevania, or do you feel like we have a Metroid, so we have a Vania?
I have not played it, and I'm fine putting it on there if you're vouching for it. Sure.
Was this game good, or was I just a kid? I think it was good.
Was it different? Do you remember it being like?
What did everyone say at the time?
Yeah,
85. I think that's. Today I choose to agree with critics because they agree with me. Yeah.
So which one was this? Is Castlevania what?
Portrait of Ruin? Yeah.
All right.
I feel like that's okay. I think the Ace Attorney is the other one that I would consider.
So
I do think Ace Attorney hits a genre that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have not played those games, but I know they're good.
I started playing the trilogy on PS5, it is really fun. Yeah. No, I totally see why people enjoy these games.
I think there's definitely a Inside Story might be better than Portrait of Ruin, but we do have a lot of Mario stuff, even though this is like a way different genre than
it is a very different genre
than
of
it.
Mario.
So I'm open to that one too. I guess the only one in a way, like Phantom Hourglass.
That is the only one I've played. Like that is of the two between the Castlevania and the Inside Story. I've played a little bit of Inside Story.
Should we put that instead, do you think? It does kind of hit at something else, but
you know what? Sure. Because it also is a little bit of that tacticsy approach to things too. So, it gives us a little bit. And we have, like you said, we have a Metroid already on the list. This would give us a little bit of
so that means we're going to have a list with no
diversity.
Castlevania, basically. Which Castlevania is really good.
I feel like the time to put Castlevania was like 4 consoles ago.
Why? Castlevania was still great. This is a good. Maybe I should put that Castlevania game back up here. So you lean on Mario Luigi just because we both played it and kind of remember it a little more clearly.
I lean on that, but again, I'm not opposed to Castlevania. I just haven't played it, so I'm just taking your word for it, which is fine. I trust you. I trust your word.
But do you trust Child Me? That's who played it.
I think if
honestly,
you were to preserve one over the other, would you preserve the Castlevania
over it? No, but only because I would just pick a different Castlevania probably to preserve. But I think Portrait. You know what? I'm putting Portrait of Ruin. Yeah, let's put Portrait of Ruin. I remember. I don't remember like specifics in terms of like if we were sitting on a review podcast for it, I'd be like, I need to play at least like an hour to refresh my memory, like kind of thing.
Sure.
But I do remember that being like a big deal and like a really cool game I played, and I remember being really good. So yeah, fuck what you heard. Castlevania, Portrait of Ruin. Yeah. Which also, have you played the Castlevania games?
No, I've never played any Castlevania game.
Yeah, I wonder if you think it's too crunchy. But again, just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not good. But I just wonder how much you'd like it. You laughed when you agreed though, so yeah, because I don't, you just doing the little whip thing. I don't know if you'd be like, this is stupid.
Next time we're at the retro store, we'll look and see if they got it or something.
You might want to just rob somebody to get this game so you could do your little rewinds and stuff. But yeah, Castlevania's cool.
All right, so Castlevania.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Castlevania's back, baby. PS3. I have a note here that says, "Was this what made you a Sony pony, Isaiah?" Because goddamn, there's a lot of games here.
And there's so many good games.
This list was nasty. It's like, again, this was the era of where I was still a kid, generally, so I didn't play like a million games,
Man.
But of the dozen games I had or whatever, like 7 of them were like the greatest games of all time. Why don't you kick this off for what you have? I know this is what made you have your 8 honorable mentions and your 7 picks, but
I'm happy with the 3 I chose, but I do give some honorable mentions just because it's like there's so many good things that either hit their stride in this generation or were started in this generation that like I can't not mention it. So
sure.
The first one, which really barely makes the cut for being able to be on this list at all, but goddamn, I'm so glad it did. Portal 2.
Yeah, literally, I had
Best
Googled
game.
Portal 2 as before you started talking, only because I, for some reason, didn't have it on my list, and I'm like, I think I just forgot to write it down. Yeah, go ahead. Portal 2.
Portal 2 is the only 11 out of 10 game to come out that somehow tops the 10 out of 10 that it's a sequel of. Fantastic. Honestly, I think it might be my favorite game of all time. It's just so good. The puzzles in it are fantastic. The writing is fantastic.
We should do the co-op sometime. I've never done it.
I haven't either. I had a friend who had it on.
We should do that today.
Later today, I got the game. I pulled it out. I'm about this game.
Well, to be clear, I started it, but I didn't finish the co-op. I think I was playing a little bit with one of my friends or something. Yeah, everyone had that flaky friend.
They had that like cross-play on Steam. Like I had a friend who had it on Steam, and I had it on PlayStation. It was like, oh, well, if you give them the code or something like that, then
how
they
long
can
was
play
the co-op
the co-op
portion? It was.
I think it was only like maybe 4 or 6 hours.
Okay, I don't think I finished it then because I'm like, well, if it was only like an hour or two, maybe I did finish it. No, I didn't finish
it was a like campaign, but I don't think it was like that big of a campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, Portal 2. I mean, what else is there really to say about it? It's one of the greatest games of all time.
Something I'd love to hear from you about this game, and I love this game too. I was on my list as well, so I can add as well. But what makes it so good? And like what? I mean, I know people know what it is, but like of like what is it and why is it special?
So Portal 2 follows up Portal, which was a tie-in game, not even tie-in game, but like one of the games in Valve's The Orange Box collection. It's a first-person puzzle game where you have a portal gun. You have it's a gun called the portal gun, and it can shoot a blue and an orange portal, and the two portals connect to each other. So if you want to reach a room or a ledge or something across the room, you can shoot one portal to the other side of the room. You can shoot a portal underneath you, and you'd fall down into the other side of the room, kind of thing. And so you play as this test subject, going through these test chambers that's being
If you like Severance,
monitored.
you should play Portal 2.
Yeah. Yo, fags. You're going through these levels while this AI robot GLaDOS is kind of like berating you and while also congratulating you, and like it's just this very well written villain of the game who's like kind of like pushing you forward story wise through the game while you're doing these puzzles. What are you ultimately trying to get to? Why are you trying to stop her? Why are you, there's not much setup to the game, but you do get great story going through the game. I think it might be set in the world of Half-Life, or at least there's some like I think Black Mesa kind of Easter eggs and things like that in it. So like I don't know, maybe there's something there for you lore wise if you're interested in that. But first person puzzle game, you're shooting portals. It is the best there is.
Yeah. And then Portal 2 introduces the propulsion gel. Is that what it's called?
Different gels. So not only do you have these portals that you're working with, you also have this like gel that can like speed you up, or which would add to your momentum if you're like going through portals, or this like bounce gel that like makes you bounce higher, and like all this other stuff. As well as just like even more better dialogue. So Portal 1 was maybe 2-3 hours, something like that. Maybe 13, 14 test chambers.
God.
Something
only
like
3
that.
hours.
Yeah.
It was the best 3 hours of my life.
Portal 2 is a full campaign, like, that 8 to 12 kind of length.
Yeah, 8.5.
With, much better dialogue, deeper dialogue, more characters they introduce, or at least another character they introduce, that you're talking with and you're working with while you're doing the puzzles, and yeah, they just add more mechanics while still just keeping the core of just fantastic video game.
Yeah, I think the only things I'll add to that is I think it is the perfect puzzle game because it is pretty simple to understand and go through, but still interesting and it has a bit of challenge, but it's not like, okay, I get it. You and your fancy fucking degrees. Well, I think also in defense of all puzzle games, it's an environmental puzzle game, and I tend to be a lot better at those than I am at like things that rely more on like logic or parsing things out in an environment to make sense of like what happens next kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, it's more tactile, so I think that's why I gel with it so well. But also, I think what's really cool and unique about Portal is the fact that it is a puzzle game that is as exciting to solve as it is to execute the solution. I think that's one of the core tenets to like a good, especially an environmental puzzle game, but you want it to feel good outside of just the like you did it. And again, back to the brain age compliment, though, it really does feel good when you get those stamps. And in Portal, it's a thrill to fly through those portals.
When you finally land in front of the exit.
Yes, and to get the answer. And they're small enough that they're also contained. I think one of the reasons I was thinking about this yesterday that I don't really like Souls games, and I don't know if I'd ever really like grow to like really like love them, especially the way that people who love them is I only like being good in short bursts. I like to work. I don't mind spending a long time getting good at one thing. Like I was playing Lily Mountain Snow Riders yesterday, working on, especially if you work on the Black Diamond stuff. For me, it can take me up to literally like 30 minutes to an hour to complete all of the things on the really hard ones. I don't mind that at all. The time flies by. It feels great because I'm working really hard to make a little bit of progress, but it's like it's done and it's finished, while that has such a bigger scale. And I think Portal has a really good use of scale in its challenges. But yeah, the writing is very, very funny.
Yeah.
If you don't know Portal, didn't play Portal, you still know the cake is a lie thing that got like memed before memes even really existed. Like
this was a triumph.
Yeah, it's just a very incredible game. It is genuinely, easily one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
It is arguably the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
I think everyone should play it, even if you don't like puzzle games. And we'll play the co-op campaign today and it'll be really fun. And I can't wait because, yeah, I played it in college. So I played it well after the fact of it coming out. Because what was that? It came out like, I'm guessing like 08, 09 or something.
08, 09, yeah.
So I guess not too far after. I played it maybe like, I think I was a junior or senior. So like that 3 or so years afterwards. I think low-key kind of on a whim. Obviously, it was very like covered, but I wasn't as tuned into coverage like during that era of my life. I think I was just like, this is a game that one of my friends had, and I had my PS3 in college, and I was like, this is the greatest game ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's another one. And then it's like, oh, there's also this co-op thing. And then, yeah, good times. Good times. So I have that one too. I guess I'll go with one that we don't share.
Sure.
Actually, we'll probably share this one too. I put The Last of Us on there.
Yeah. I had Last of Us or Uncharted. To me, they are different games, but they fill the same. Yeah, I know. They sort of fill the same niche of like story-driven
sad
adventure
man
game
with a beard.
Yeah.
Dad who's weirdly hot. Even though Nathan Drake isn't a dad until like later, but
yeah,
he has like that dad vibe. They look the same. Like if you could be racist against white people, you would mix Nathan Drake and Joel up all the time.
I guess. I think they're different.
They have that
flavors
one,
of the same
yes,
product.
It's because they have that one. I say because they have that one like physical feature where it's like, wait, you're Nathan, right? No, I'm actually Joel. Nathan's the other white guy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you guys just look so similar, and they don't look that similar, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but.
No, I had it too.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about it?
What can I say? That's not already said. No, I mean, Last of Us is a really incredible game. I know, obviously, it has the remaster on PS4 and then the remake on PS5. They're not that different. So, like, I think I played it on PS3 when.
I know I did.
Because I played it. I played the PS4 remaster. Maybe I played it back when we were living in East Bay. When I finally was able to finish it because I started it like 8 times. Yeah, I think it's just a very tight package of like action and story. I think they do a really good job with like the level design and sort of having you be sequestered in these areas to have I think what ends up amounting to like pretty memorable encounters. I think it's also where for me, obviously they are different they are really different games. Like I think Uncharted and Last of Us are very different experiences. Like if you were like, I just played Uncharted, how do I get more of this? I would not necessarily say you played The Last of Us or inverted.
I kind of would.
See, I think
because I think what you I feel like what you get most from the game, you get from both of them, which is like that enthralling story, and tight gameplay. Now the gameplay is slightly different. I'll give you that. The thing
about Uncharted and this is also like the thing that I don't like that much about Uncharted is I feel like all of Uncharted's encounters outside of set pieces are very like, like I shot a guy in the head and I shot another guy in the head and I shot like 3 other guys in the head and I'm in this area. Like it has really like magnificent set pieces, like the train thing in Uncharted 2, like that eats like the big blockbuster kind of like, oh, we slow-mo jump out of the plane kind of vibe. Like you get that. And Last of Us has a little bit of that with like, you know, their opening like car sequence where they have like, they're both very cinematic games, but Last of Us with the way it's designed, and it's also in part the type of gameplay it is, one's like stealth, heavily stealth, and the other one's action. That's why I feel like they are very different. Where like I can literally picture areas in Last of Us very vividly, and I know how those encounters go down because they are so memorably designed. Like the area where you're in like the decrepit like old office building, and there's like the few zombies. Well, no, that's not whatever, right? The few zombies like walking around, and you're like, kind of. It's like we have to move that big piece from the door. Like I can picture that really vividly because it was structured in such a specific way. And that's not to say they don't design, obviously, like the levels in Uncharted. Like they're very, you know, made with like a verticality to provide like good sight lines that make for like fun gunplay and to give you opportunities for cover and stuff. So like there obviously is thoughtful design in Uncharted, but I feel like the moment to moment run of the mill encounters are less of a big deal. They're more like fodder for like the larger adventure. And in Last of Us, I feel like no moment is spared. And that's why I feel like Last of Us is a much tighter experience. It's also why it's probably a shorter experience. It's 1 versus, you know, I know 2 is way longer. And it's also why I think the Uncharted games are too long. I'm like, it's not because like it's just long. It's because it's like, what are we really doing here? Like we're doing the same thing over and over again. The gameplay doesn't advance or change enough versus like, even with like The Last of Us, you're not necessarily like, obviously getting like powers, but I think the way they change up the structure of the areas and like as you gain like abilities in crafting and stuff and like start making more stuff, like the encounters are so memorable that it like keeps you going. And it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like I'm just taking down like zombies over and over again. Which is also like the many other zombie games that exist where it's like, oh, you're kind of just like, I don't know, like Days Gone, you do one encounter, you've done all the combat encounters. Yeah. In Last of Us, all of them feel so distinctive, and not just because they're inherently different, but because of the context that they present them in makes them feel like moments. Like you're really with this crew of these two people and like this is really happening.
Yeah.
Well, Uncharted, it's like, oh, another room with like a bunch of dudes that kind of look the same and you kill them, and I guess they're probably the cartel or something or whatever, you know, like so that's what I think makes Last of Us a standout. Like I think that design is just very tight, and they do other really great things too with, you know, like the light walk and talk kind of vibe. Again, if you like The Last of Us, you secretly like walking sims, because a lot of that game is like, you know, you have that little walking bit, and it shares a lot of DNA with that style of game, with its emphasis on interacting with the different pieces and you getting like the lore through that. I think they have a lot of great restraint in those notes as well. Like the Bill stuff's just in the notes, and like, but I read those notes, and I think most people did because they were short enough and infrequent enough that it felt like a real treat to get them. Like, oh my God, like we're getting another little piece of lore, and not, oh, here's the 80th note I found and someone wrote like 7 pages about like some shit about the virus or whatever.
I still say Ish's story is like the one DLC that I feel like they really should have given us. That would have been so cool.
Whose story?
Ish's story. When you're like in The Last of Us, you kind of like go through, you go backwards through this like almost like service tunnel kind of thing, and it leads to the section where there's a sniper in the house that you are trying to get to. With the kids. He's like teaching kids and they're infected, you know, it's so good.
There's a lot of like just really cool stuff in there. But that's Last of Us. So what else do you have?
For my last one, a little bit different, but man, does it still belong, I think, in the conversations for this time capsule? Little Big Planet.
We literally have the same list.
Do we really?
Yeah, look. The only difference is I put GTA 5 ? I actually haven't played GTA 5 yet. I know I'm like the only person on earth that hasn't played that game. And I know it's like one of the greatest games of all time, but I haven't played it, so I just put a question mark. But everything else is the same. Yeah. That's crazy. Oh my God. We're meant to be.
Little Big Planet 2, if I want to be specific. Just because I think it's everything that Little Big Planet 1 did, but just like bigger,
I think
better.
The only con between 1 and 2, even though it was kind of for the better, but also like kind of took a little bit. The Little Big Planet 2 was a lot easier than Little Big Planet 1.
Oh, sure.
Little Big Planet 1 was like kind of hard, like low key. Sure. And I kind of missed some of that difficulty because I think that friction created some fun.
Well, thankfully the community has your back, because one of the reason why this game is on my list at all is because it like so heavily lean into the community levels, like community created levels, that Mario Maker-esque, like you can make your own level.
You know what's funny?
Can publish
I never played anyone else's levels. Yeah, I just played the campaign.
Oh man, you missed out on some really good stuff, which I imagine
it's probably
is gone now.
Yeah, I'm guessing, but no, I grew up like an online gaming hater.
That's great.
I was like, what are we doing? We're doing what now? Connected? Why are we connected? Yeah. Like I never did Street Pass because I was like, why the fuck would I like connect with anybody? What is this?
Jeez.
I don't need this. Like that one person I played games. I'm like, Edwin's playing games with me. I don't.
Do you have any honorable mentions for this concert? I know it's just
I guess,
be aware of time and stuff.
I guess give another nod to what's good about Little Big Planet. So I think people just look at it and they're like, I don't know, it's cute.
Yeah, no, it's a side-scrolling 2D gameplay puzzle or platformer where you're this little sack boy named Sackboy, who can grab onto things, he can push things, he can pull things, and basically the world you live in is almost like this just world made of craft material and like various things made out of crafts, but not in like a Kirby Epic Yarn kind of way, more in a like physics simulator kind of way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, maybe you are going through a level that is themed as a jungle, and there's little big cat robots that walk back and forth and patrol or something, and if you touch them you die, and so you need to like Mario style platform over them, or maybe they have like a button on their head that you can jump on Mario style to kill them, or maybe you just got to collect all the little bubbles that they have in the game, which are the equivalent to coins in other games. And so you just get this really cool bespoke campaign, as well as tools to create and publish your own levels online that people have been creative when it comes to, like, there's a Dead Space level that is probably like better than the things that Media Molecule came up with.
Oh, I thought you said better than Dead Space. Yeah, like I didn't actually dip into a lot of that online aspect stuff, but I played it like decently after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a really fun multiplayer platformer. I guess it's the other key element that you can do a bunch of local multiplayer. And I guess, can you do online multiplayer?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Maybe not. Yeah, and it was just like really fun. It had, I think the world is really well crafted. Ha ha ha. But they have like all these different costumes and stuff. That was a big part of the game, of like having like the excitement of getting like new unlockables, of like getting to dress up your side person. And that was really cool. Incredible sound design with like how you picking up those bubbles too, like the like it had a good pop to it, and some really cool integration of the OST as well, like the soundtrack. I know it had a couple licensed tracks. A lot of people know Cafe Tacuba from Little Big Planet. Like I'll listen to Cafe Tacuba and they're like, oh, it's a Little Big Planet song. So that's cool. Yeah, that is you. It's there. I could start playing their albums more. But yeah, it's just really freaking fun. Like some of the most fun I've had playing a game is Little Big Planet. Cool. So yeah, we're tied. We're the same. 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 What are we thinking here? Portal 2?
I mean, I feel like it's got to be Portal 2. I feel like, I don't know if there's another game that does what Portal 2 does anywhere near as close to it. And I think I got to give it to Portal 2.
Yeah, I think same. And I feel like I know, because you can play Portal 2 on 360, yeah?
Maybe now. I know originally I think it was a PC, PS3 exclusive.
I would still put it on PS3, but I just wanted to speak towards, I guess, another layer of what we're trying to do too is like pick, which is kind of where we got into our the Halo Guitar Hero beef. It's like you can just the best game that you can play. It should be a little bit representative of like the identity of the console too. Like you should look at this game name and be like, oh yeah, that's like such a. It's totally like the NES. Obviously, that's easier in the older generation because there was less cross-platform stuff. But yeah, same deal. Now, that being said, of course, you know, like things like GTA, you kind of have to just put that somewhere, which we don't have a GTA yet. Also.
Yeah, we do. We have Vice City.
Oh, we have Vice City. Yeah, you're right.
That was why I didn't bother putting it
5,
on.
yeah.
5 or 4.
Okay, yeah, I think Portal 2, I'm good with that. It's a little sad to not put Last of Us just because I think that is like one of these most iconic games like in all of video games, but so is Portal 2, and frankly Portal 2u is like way better than Last of Us. I'll throw Last of Us under a fucking bus just in general because I got you know some pent up stuff. But for Portal 2, yeah, Portal 2 is so fucking great.
Stupid good.
Round of applause for Portal 2. It's the best game on this list that that might be true almost forever. So good.
It's really hard to think of something that's better.
It's the greatest game. I guess the one thing I want to give a nod to before we move on is just that, like, I know the PS3 era and the PS3 specifically definitely had like a lot of hit indies on it. So yeah, I just wanted to give a light acknowledgement to that. They didn't make my list because for a number of reasons. One, I think these other games are stronger. Like they're actually the strongest games on the list. But two,
you were playing Pain. You were
no, but two, I didn't really get. For me personally, I got heavier into indies through PC, like gaming on my laptop and stuff like that. And that kind of happened for me a little bit later. Like it sort of was outside of the console spectrum. And in general, I think indies still, you know, they dominate on PC and they often just get console ports here and there or like cross, you know, ported or whatever. But I kind of feel like, yeah. Again, if there's one that's strong enough, I'll obviously put it up here on console, but it was just another defining part of the era, so I just wanted to acknowledge it.
For me, it was a lot of series, like I said, either got their start or like found their stride on this console. It's that
Batman game, right?
Yeah, the Batman Arkham series, the Burnout / like Need for Speed games. I feel like really got in their bag.
Shout out to Midnight Club.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles edition or whatever that is.
The Soul series, right? Like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. And one of my personal favorites, the Resistance series. Still love that game, Resistance 1. I'll fucking boot that up right now and play through it.
It's there now.
It's ready now.
All right, our last ones that we have here, we got PSP and 360. Let's go to the PSP because they're matchers.
Yeah,
PlayStation.
It's pretty short for me.
Okay, well, you want us to kick us off?
Sure. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Right, yeah, you do love that tactics game.
Yeah, we don't really have a tactics game on the list yet. So this is me throwing my hat in the ring for this one. Again, obviously different games, but to me it fills a similar void to that like Bowser's Inside Story, where it's like you're going into a situation trying to be strategic with how you're doing the combat and maybe like where you're placing people or timing things and stuff like that. So it's fun, and it's Final Fantasy, and it's a great story. It's the one game I'll pick up like literally once every like 2-3 years. I'll like boot it up on something and try to like play and get further than I did before.
Do you have it still? No, right? You don't have any of your PSP games?
I have a few PSP games. I don't think I have this one. Yeah, unfortunately, I think this one got lost to time. But again, now that we're hitting up retro stores,
we'll throw it onto the pile. Though we have to
be careful.
Not even be careful. We have to start playing these games, though. Now I will say,
wait, play the game.
No, I know it's like I got a crazy idea. We have been good about like we did play our Midnight Club at our NBA Street, but as someone that has dipped into retro many times, it's like, all right, I still haven't played that game I bought that Sarah recommended. We bought that when we were in Chicago.
Yeah.
We were in Chicago like half a year ago or something. Yeah. For all I know, that game UMD doesn't even work. I never even booted it up. So anyway, yeah, that's a good shout. For me, there's a lot of stuff. I love the PSP. The PSP was like one of my core childhood memories. I'm going with Hitch on UMD. No, I'm just kidding. I did watch a lot of Hitch, and I did have that on UMD. I am going with I think I'm actually going to go like fake modern, which is to say that I played it in the modern era. Loco Roco 2. I love Loco Roco 2. It is so fun.
Yeah, I had that.
You're just kind of tilting the level in the area back. If you played Astrobot, you're now familiar with Loco Roco. But yeah, you're like this little like big ball jelly guy.
Yeah.
He's the original Sackboy. He's just like a blob. And you sort of like can break down into like smaller pieces, and then you can also like build back up. So sometimes you're collecting almost like a Pikmin style, but they fuse to be like either big blob or little to go through like different parts of the level. But it's also a very like musical game. Like there's like these music elements integrated to it, and there's like a really incredible, again, sound design OST. It's a very happy, vibrant world. To be honest, I have not beaten Loco Roco 2 yet, but I've been chipping away at it here and there, and I just love it. It's like such a great game, and I think it's the kind of game that, and this doesn't make it necessarily better, but just kind of a fun fact, you can play this game for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and you know the game. Like it is very straightforward mechanically.
What you see is
I think I brought it when I went to Kind of Funny one of the times. I think I brought it with me to have Blessing play it. To be like, this is what Loco. Yeah, he was like, oh, okay, cool, because I think we were maybe doing content on like we were doing something where I was like, here, just play it now, and it was cool just to get to hand that over and have him check it out.
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure it was with Loco Roco. It was definitely I think it was Loco Roco because it's the only game that you can kind of like quickly. I mean, other Patapon and stuff you can glean pretty quick as well. But yeah, what else do you got for PSP?
Speaking of Patapon, that was my next game. I didn't play much Loco Roco, or at least I played more Patapon than I did Loco Roco.
Okay.
And I know they're not the same game at all or anything like that. But
yeah, it's a Jack and Daxter Ratchet and Clank
effect. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, you guys can play both. Like, I don't understand. Like, this alignment chart.
Something about the little Patapons, and you hit them to the beat. It's like
it was a good era for little
part
guys.
Rhythm game, part little fighting kind of actiony kind of thing. It was a fun time, and they got like 2 or 3 sequels. Patapon. I think it was like up to Patapon 3.
I wasn't as into Patapon when I tried to play the modern era because I don't have good rhythm. You know this about me. My rhythm's so bad, so I'm really bad at rhythm games. Yeah, maybe I'll give it another go. I have it on UMD. So, my other one is I'm trying to think. I have a couple of ones written down. You know what? I'm gonna go with Daxter. Be cliche and go with Daxter here.
I figured that was gonna make an appearance.
Yeah, this is a really great game, great platformer. I will say, I'm trying to think. Did I feel like it was weak? I replayed some of it a few months ago when we did the
Jack Smith.
The Jack Smith thing. And I did feel like it was a little weaker than I remembered, but only by a little bit. I also think, was I just tired because I played like 20 hours of games in the last couple days? But
that could be it.
Generally, it's really cool. It takes place in the same it takes place in Haven City, so where Jack 2 is. It's this really fun concept of being like an interstitial between Jack 1 and Jack 2, where it's like, what was Daxter doing when it took him forever to get to Jack, and here's what he was doing or whatever. And yeah, he is a exterminator, so it kind of has like some of that Luigi's Mansion energy, because it's kind of like it functionally plays sort of similar, where you either spray, you can also use it as like a hover thing as well. Yeah, you're fighting bugs, you have like a fly swatter. I think it has like just a really good game feel to it. I think Ready at Dawn did a great job developing this and making it really feel cohesive with how the main franchise plays. And again, it also hits a little bit one of my favorite things, the small scale, you know, because you're small. So I mean, the world is sort of, it doesn't feel like you're just tiny in a big world necessarily, but it kind of has a little bit of that DNA, because you are like a tiny little, you're like the size of a cat, you know, Daxter, compared to like the world. Yeah, and it's just like a good creative time. They integrate a lot of like familiar gameplay concepts, like, you know, hovering over things in a field, which you've seen like throughout the franchise, but it also has like uniquely Daxter things. Like he has these like these mini games you play where he's dreaming. Oh, yeah. And that's like really fun and funky and weird. And they're also like these dorky little like nods to pop culture stuff. Like you could be like Neo in the Matrix and stuff. That's my other one. Great game.
That was good. For me, my last one, which works out because we didn't choose it for the PS3, Little Big Planet on the PSP. I played a lot of it on PSP as well. The little level creator there as well, and everything like that. So all the stuff that we talked about Little Big Planet, 1 and 2 on the PS3 kind of fits here on the PSP, just smaller, more portable form factor. Still a good time.
Nice. Just I guess we're doing our tip of the hat or whatever to God of War Chains of Olympus. Yeah. Played that. Really liked that a lot. It was really cool. It's definitely like, smaller scale vibes, but I feel like it was like a fun kind of I think it even, because of the scale, it leans a little bit even more heavily into like that beat 'em up style of old school God of War. I think it was cool. It worked. It was a good time. Similarly, I know for most people, Chinatown Wars is their handheld GTA. Sure. For me, it was Liberty City Stories. I never played Chinatown Wars. I don't think I did either. I was in Liberty City. I was more Liberty City. And I had a great time. That was the GTA I played the most of, because I think because it was handheld. Sure. So makes sense. Not only did I do the campaign, but I would do like the dumb, like runs of how many stars can you get all the stars and how long can you last or whatever. So I'd do that. I would save scum to buy the rocket launcher, and I would sit in an apartment and just snipe police officers from my window. And that was a foundational moment for me. And I was like, this is a great time. And like, actually, it wasn't just the police officers. It was like any civilians and the police officers. Because I remember like, the thing where it's like, you have like the little reticle, and then they just like, their head explodes and everyone's like, oh, like, and I'm just like, they're all running around, and I was like, stand still. And I would just be shooting them. I was just sniping them from the window. And that was childhood. So shout out to that.
The only other one I have an honorable mention, Ratchet and Clank Size Matters.
I like Size Matters a lot too.
We didn't, I don't even know if we brought up the Ratchet and Clank games.
No, we forgot to. Yeah.
But yeah, like, missed opportunity there. So
I
giving
brought
it the shout out
up
here.
your Arsenal.
You're
at the time.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
But still, I like Size Matters a lot as well.
Fun time. I think Secret Agent Clank was also a PSP.
Yeah.
one?
Did you play
or was
that?
that a Vita one?
I don't remember. I heard it wasn't that good.
It was more Ratchet and Clank, which for me was enough. So
I thought
was it good?
Clank.
I don't know. Well, yeah, sure, but yes.
Like I feel like, well, no, because here's the thing, because Clank plays totally, because unlike Daxter, like Daxter doesn't really have a role. I mean, sometimes he has a role in like Jack Daxter, but not really. Like it's very rare. Well, Clank always had those like puzzle, like he always did that like he had like a more fleshed out mechanical thing. So when they made his thing, they made it more like in his vein of like that side stuff you already were known of doing. While Daxter was like just putting him in the world. It wasn't like, oh, we're expanding his like section of the game. Well, I felt like Secret Agent Clank, that's one reason it wasn't as good. It's like it was just expanding those like little puzzles. So
you're right.
Yeah, so I did feel like it was different, and that's also why maybe it wasn't that good. And then I want to give a nod to Peace Walker. I just never played it, so I know for most people that's like their number one PSP game.
If we didn't get Metal Gear in here already, this definitely would have been the Peace Walker.
What's going on with this Peace Walker situation? Is it supposed to be like the greatest game ever? Like, what is this game?
I think it's just really core to, I think, especially like, I don't know if it was before or after Metal Gear Solid 4, but it was like back at the like, oh, you're sneaking around in this like in like this nature environment kind of thing, and I feel like it was more closer to like a Snake Eater than the other games, and so for a lot of people that really gravitated them towards it. I liked it. I played it. I didn't finish it at all. But I finished I finished so few games on the PSP just because it was like, man, this thing dies all the time and everything. So it was like, I'm gonna play what I can and
like
get as far as I can.
take care of their stuff,
but yeah, I guess so. So a lot of my most like biggest PSP memories come like after the fact, which I got to get back to Peace Walker, Spec Ops, and I think was it Acid? I think it was also the third one on the PSP. Maybe that was the Vita. I don't remember. But yeah, no. Peace Walker, solid.
We'll have to make a retro list at some point of games that we want to go shopping for. Maybe that can be an episode thing.
Yeah,
too,
that'd be cool.
Just like our cleanup list. Okay, so for this, I'm kind of leaning on that Final Fantasy Tactics that you mentioned.
It sounds good to me.
Is that kind of where you lean? These are all really great games, but
it was gonna be either that or like a Loco Roco Patapon, kind of like something in that smaller indie.
And was Tactics only on?
There was a Tactics Advance on GBA, which I think is like kind of the same game, but just like a reimagining of it kind of thing. Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP, War of the Lions. There's the Final Fantasy Tactics on PS1.
Sure.
Final Fantasy Tactics Advance on GBA, and then Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions on PSP.
And that's the one you're referring to, War of the Lions?
Yes.
Yeah, I am basically inclined to put this one on here because you talk about it so much just generally, but can you maybe speak a little bit to like what makes this like so good? I know it's a good tactics game.
So it is kind of the game that really made me fall for Metaphor, ReFantazio last year, because it has that similar class system where you have your party of characters and they each can be their own class. And as you play as a certain class, you'll level up and get better at that class, unlock new abilities. But then to unlock some classes, you need to upgrade other classes, right? Like to be a dark mage, you need to upgrade maybe your mage class to like level 10, and then you unlock the dark mage and you can then start down that tree. So it's like it's like a tree-based system class thing. But then also like it just is really good tactics game where like I feel like the situations you are put into, they're always interesting in like various ways to go about defeating the enemy or surviving the turns or whatever the kind of objective is. And they're really good with like varied like level placement where it's like the level has like each level has like generally some really great elevation to it. There's the classic like Final Fantasy things where it's like, oh, you can have a chocobo as like one of your things, and then he'll like do this rush attack or something like that, or like you get your mage and it does the Phoenix down when someone's dead and brings it back. So like it's got a lot of that fantasy ness to it while still just being like a really good, well thought out tactic game. Yeah, while still being final.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. All right, our last one on the docket, we got Xbox 360. This is another one where it's like, it's sad too, because with me and this Xbox stuff, I didn't have an Xbox till Xbox One, right? And I'm like, just wait, I had an Xbox One, guys, but I'm like, how much did I play on my Xbox One? Fuck, anyway, hopefully I'll be better for the Xbox One because I did play that console and like that quite a bit. Granted, we'll unpack those memories next episode because I have a lot to say about my time with the Xbox One. But yeah, so I kind of come up pretty much with, I don't really got anything because I played some of the Fallout games, but not like all the way through. I'm like, one of the Fallout games. What do you have on here, and what's your history with the 360?
So the 360, I would say, is really embarrassing to admit, was probably the console I thirsted for the most. Like I had a cousin who had a 360, and the 360 came out a year before the PS3 did. So like all he did was talk about how good 360 was, all the games he's playing, big and bad, this and that. And I was a fucking hater. I hated this man. I was so jealous of him. Eventually I got the PS3 and, spat back at him, blah, blah, blah. But like during that year, I thirsted for I looked up so many unboxing videos for the 360 just so I could imagine getting my own. I did weird allowance girl math to figure out how I could afford the arcade edition, which is the one that didn't come with the hard drive, and you had to then back up your saves to just this memory card and this, that, and the third. And I thirsted for this console so hard. Eventually got it well after the fact. By the time I got it, I was like, I don't even want to play these games anymore. Or I play them elsewhere because during this console generation is when games really started just being multi-platform, and exclusives were still a thing, but only so much. You know what I mean? So for this one, this is a multi-platform game that I ended up actually playing elsewhere. But when you think about it, I think you do think Xbox 360 for it. BioShock.
Okay.
Fantastic game. It is.
I keep starting it, and I liked what I played. I was like, this is great.
It's just a new System Shock, right? It was the spiritual reimagining of a System Shock kind of game.
It plays way smoother than System Shock.
This is a new System Shock. I don't know if that's good or not.
So I played the remaster that they did recently of System Shock. I tried that out. It just was too.
Oh, it was a remaster. Okay.
It was. It felt old.
Oh,
to
okay,
me.
gotcha. Well, hey, stick to BioShock then, folks.
Yeah, I mean, hey, to each their own. But I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What? I hear it is a huge improvement though from the actual original. The actual original was impossible to move in, and this is much more modern. But I was like, why am I not playing BioShock?
Sure.
So I know this is, but yeah.
I can see that. With BioShock, they had BioShock 2 as well as BioShock Infinite. But I think BioShock 1 is really the one that people think of when they think BioShock. They think of that Big Daddy. They think of the Would You Kindly. They think of all these pieces to it. The shock, the wrench, the all of this
was
stuff.
also the era of that sci-fi old aesthetic, because this and Fallout had the don't you want to put on an old dress but then put a chainsaw on your hand and now you're chainsaw hand man or whatever. Obviously I did not finish BioShock but that's basically what the game was. And the greatest would you say it's a lock opening system, the gel, the goo? Greatest lock picking of all time, this freaking game. Give me a whole game that's just that.
It's gotta be, right? Yeah.
Everybody else, I'm like, why are you not just doing the BioShock 2? Is it for legal reasons? Did they license the goo? I don't know what's going on. So good. It also has again, I didn't finish it, so I don't have as much to say on BioShock, but it has another thing that I love in games, which is funky little abilities. They're what do we put this chip in your skull and now you can throw things or whatever. I don't know what they have in there.
Yeah, it's also Severance.
Yeah, it's also a little bit. Yeah, if you like Severance, go check and play BioShock. Yeah, this game is super cool. Yeah, it's got also, I think what really impresses me about BioShock is it has just a really compelling atmosphere. It's a game where, in a technical sense, you're always looking for making progression in a game, because that's the structure of linear games, where it's okay, what do I do next? Whatever. It is such a game where I am soaking in everything in that environment. I'm reading all the little poster, I'm checking out in the bathrooms, and it's got such great visuals, visual set pieces, almost like how Dead Space has, in a kind of horror sense. That's why it's it's horror games for scaredy cats. BioShock would be in there because it's not really a horror game, but I find it scary. I find it scary. That scene in the beginning of the game where the woman's in the baby carriage. Give them their Emmy. Give them their Emmy. This is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's a good one. What else do you have? Because again, I don't got.
You mentioned it, Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space. Oh, Dead Space on it. Okay, I can back that. I played Dead Space, but would you put 2 on there then instead?
I think 2 is better, but I mean, Dead Space 1 is also really fucking. I mean, you played it, you played the
finally
remake
something I played. I forgot that was on here.
Stupid good. It's
awesome.
It's still good. I imagine it would hold up to pretty well. Obviously, if you can only play one, play the remake, just because a little bit probably runs better and stuff like that, but the core is there.
They allegedly fixed the flying outside, which isn't that good, which really makes me scared for what you played, because I was that's wild.
Fantastic series.
Yeah.
This was my entry to this like horror survivor kind of thing. Like I didn't play Resident Evil 4 growing up. I played Dead Space. That was my intro, and boy, was it a great time.
Yeah.
It basically is just like Resident Evil 4. Like the systems of Resident Evil 4 come through a lot with Dead Space. It's just thematically it's sci-fi as opposed to just like zombies.
Yeah.
And you're in space instead of in like abandoned villages and churches and stuff. But if you like one, I would say I recommend playing the other. They are very more similar than they are different, for sure.
Did the original have all those burgers in it, or is that a remake?
I don't know if the original had the burgers in it. To be honest, I wouldn't even notice the burgers in the new one if I hadn't talked to you about how good the burgers are looking.
Yeah, for those who don't know, as I was playing Dead Space, the remake, I was like, there's a lot of burgers here. Every room, every 2 rooms has like a burger.
Yeah.
Sometimes not eating it all, sometimes partially. And they were smacking on them burgers. And was it the Ishimura?
Yeah.
The Ishimura was Burger Town in the sky. It was
and the Galaxy can learn a thing or two.
Yeah, like they just, I don't know, they had a lot of burgers. They were eating a yum snack, and then things went down.
They looked good. They did look pristine, which is like weird.
With this pretty patty ass spaceship. Yeah, it was a great game.
And then lastly, also the thing you mentioned, Fallout. I got introduced to it with Fallout 3. I think the general consensus among a lot of people is that New Vegas is better. But 3 is where my heart is. Like that's the one that I fucking spend my hours in. So I'm gonna go Fallout 3, but shout out to New Vegas and also like Skyrim, Oblivion, like all the Bethesda RPGs. Just Fallout 3 was my one.
Now we don't have actually a Resident Evil at all, so we could always go Dead Space. That's like
you don't have any recommendation, like, you know?
Oh no, I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm done.
Then,
we're done.
More honorable mentions. One of these I know you played, but you didn't play it on this. Super Meat Boy.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the Xbox XBLA, right? Arcade.
I do think that was
games.
Also again was not my experience, but that was like Xbox Live Arcade was like the indie pinnacle moment.
Yeah. I feel like that's like what brought indie to the masses. Like, for in me and my circles at least. The Mass Effect series, I didn't play them. I was more the Dragon Age at this time, as far as like BioWare stuff, but I know people love the Mass Effect games. Mass Effect 1 and 2 are supposed to be like the best game ever for a lot of people. And then Gears of War, Halo, we talked about a little bit already. If we didn't have a Halo already, I probably would have put Halo 3 on my list, but because we did, let's get some diversity in there. And then Gears, like I said, I played Gears 1 on Xbox One, and that was a fantastic time. Loved the game. Probably would have enjoyed it if I played it on 360, to be honest with you. I just never did. So.
Which Gears did you mention?
Sorry?
You said Gears?
It's just like an honorable mention, like
Yeah.
just the series, right? You know, there's I don't know, like
I did
4
play
of them or something like that.
the first one, like the Ultimate Edition one on Xbox One at some point. It was cool.
Yeah,
It was fun. It was all right.
I'm down. I feel like it should be either Dead Space or Fallout, like a Bethesda kind of
I think
thing.
that's fair. I'm a little bummed about, even though I forgot that he existed, Super Meat Boy, but we have a lot of platformer stuff on here. So
we don't have any shooters.
you said you're between
Why is it kind of Portal?
Dead Space and Fallout. Is that what you said you're between?
I'm between Dead Space and Fallout. I think Dead Space covers something new.
Yeah, but if you don't get Fallout in here, I don't think it's ever coming back.
That's true. I'll let you pick. You played Dead Space, right?
I did play Dead Space, yeah. I beat Dead Space. I didn't finish. Was Fallout 3 even the one I was playing? I always mix up which one I was playing.
I think Fallout 3 was the one because that was the one I think Maggie played. And I don't know if you also played what Maggie played.
I've dabbled in like 2 of them. I played the one where you have the base building that everyone hated.
Oh, Fallout 4? Yeah, no.
And I played a little bit of 3 also, though, I think.
You know what? Let's go Dead Space just for that.
What?
I'd rather just
really? I feel okay. All right, we can go Dead Space.
I like the Fallout, but man, Fallout it's been so hit or miss that
we're going Dead Space 1 or 2.
If we got the choice too.
We're making it.
Hell yeah,
of course, we
sweet.
have the choice.
All right, Dead Space 2. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. For the record, I actually like the base building in Fallout 4.
I like Skyrim too.
It turns out when you don't have a bitch in your ear saying that the base building is stupid, you have fun. Which it's funny because like and this is also just like what's funny about playing games way later. Like I started playing Fallout 4 and I got to the part where you have like the base stuff and I was like, this is great. I'm getting my basketball hoop. I can't wait to come back home and like work on my little American Apocalypse Animal Crossing. And you're like, hey, everyone hated this part of the game. I was like, really? That's so funny. I like it.
And then you got the guy who's like, oh, your settlement needs you to, I forget what his name is. I blocked it out of my mind.
I haven't like seen it all the way through. Maybe it does wear after a while. But
yeah, you play it long enough, you'll turn on it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say my thing with Fallout is I kind of struggle with like the gameplay of Fallout though. Like I think I did have to knock that down to easy because I was just dying too much. Low-key BioShock same. I'm like, when I rerun it, I'm gonna try to do it again on normal. But like I was just dying too much. I need to
VATS is
dial this back.
If VATS was on like eligible for this list, VATS would be number one on this. I love the VATS system.
Yeah, the VATS system is very cool. It helps with some of that the gameplay challenge of it because you can kind of slow things down. And slowing things down also my favorite thing in a game.
Yeah.
When I aim, I want time to slow down.
I know people are going to be in the comments yelling at that I picked Dead Space over like a Skyrim
really,
or Fallout, but
really loved. But
man, if I can only play one, I'm playing Dead Space again. I'll boot that up right now and play it again.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it fair to say that we're not like very like we're not really an RPG boy household holistically? I know you've played more RPGs than me.
Holistically, yeah.
I think we just lean a little bit more on like
actiony,
just like linear narrative. Yeah. Not narrative, but like I lean on narrative, but like just
linear campaign,
basic ass. Like you play the game, then you beat the game, and the game doesn't take 80 hours. Like it's kind of like a bit more our bag. So
that's fair. Also, Skyrim was on like fucking every console once it came out, so it might come up again. Who knows?
Cool. So this is our list for the new retro. We got Wii Sports representing the Wii, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. That feels right. Representing the DS. Portal 2 representing the PS3, Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of Lions representing the PSP, and Dead Space 2 representing the Xbox 360. That's a good list.
That's a good list. I take all those games right now. Wow.
I'm just saying, what's the weakest game on this list? I don't think
I haven't played Castlevania, so I don't know.
Wow. That's really mean. That's so mean of you. You know what? I'll buy it for you. You're not gonna play it anyways. I'm just gonna sell the shelf. Yeah. Cool. Good job. We're making the greatest time capsule ever.
This is like probably the generation that was just the hardest to pick because we only have so many slots.
Yeah,
there are so many good games. So many good games.
It was a good era.
I think next gen is also going to be a little bit hard. I'm going to I can't wait till last minute to make that list. I need to like start today and start thinking through what's going to make the cut.
I can't wait to finally get to talk about the Wii U.
Because that's going to be all you.
Everyone will be hating, but we're here.
I can't wait because I want to see what you bring to the table as a Wii hater.
Oh my god!
Right? Even Nintendo didn't even fuck with the Wii U, so I want to know.
Okay, this is revisionist history. The Wii U just didn't sell well. It had great games. Never had that third-party support, but we're never gonna get third-party support on Nintendo consoles. Like we've been talking about third-party support since the GameCube. That's why, like, why does the Galaxy losing not bother me? Because I'm a Nintendo fan. Okay, like literally, so many bad things happen to me all the time, and I'm just here no matter what because I love Mario. I love Link.
Bring your Marios with the Wii U. That's what I want to see. All right.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's some good stuff. The Wii U got bangers. And you know how I already know the Wii U has bangers. I don't want to like spoil the episode or whatever, but like there's a reason that there's so many freaking ports to the Switch. It's because the console didn't sell, but the games were banger. The games are fire. Yeah. And what does everybody want? Y'all want that Wind Waker that we got on the Wii U. And I want it too, like, yeah, put them all in there. More chances to play these great games. But yeah. Before you, I cannot wait to have my 30-minute eulogy next week. All right, but that's our time capsule. Quick nod. We the poll of the show these weeks have always been on the time capsule and what you put in there. So we'll plug that again at the end. But definitely let us know how you'd build your little vat.
Yeah. Again, not the best games of all time. It is the best games we can make by only choosing one from each console.
It's like the greatest lineup
collection
within limitations. Yes. Obviously, there are limitations to that, but yeah. All right. All right. Well, that's our time capsule. All right. You know, quick nod. We the poll of the show these weeks have always been on the time capsule and what you put in there. So we'll plug that again at the end. But again, not the best games of all time. It is the best games we can make by only choosing one from each console. It's like the greatest lineup within limitations.
Yes.
Obviously, there are limitations to that, but yeah. All right. All right, before we get fully into the not game section, we take a break between the two halves of the show, and in that we look into this Portrait of Ruin thing, and my memory got a little jogged, so I do want to shout out. Yeah, I remember this game now, and it's so awesome. I know we already put it on the list, but really quick, one of the things I remember having seen the still images, and I looked up a YouTube video, is Charlotte Arlen. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but is one of the characters that you can play as, or that you do play as. Again, details are lost on me, but she's the one with the book. And I'm like, I remember that book. Oh my God, yeah, she would beat people's ass with that book. And I'm like, yeah, this game's awesome. Now, again, that's a very, very rudimentary reading of what the game is. I'm like, yeah, like she could beat ass with the book. She could cast spells with the book. I was like, this is a good time.
She's doing it all.
The art's also very beautiful, as it was in many of games of this time. But yeah, maybe more on Portrait of Ruin later. I don't know. Yeah. Isaiah was looking into legally purchasing the game, is what we'll say. And I was like, man, I can't believe you're doing this. Can I get a copy? Anyway, but let's get into the not game section. We are going to be talking about Frieren. Mm-hmm. And Beyond Journey's End, sure. Our chonky cat just left very chonkily through the door. We're gonna do a spoiler-free section of talking about the show, and then we'll have a mini spoiler cast section. We will verbalize and mark that so that people can piece out accordingly if you're worried about spoilers for it. And then at the end, we'll come back and talk about what my next anime might be, because I'm in my anime era, plot twist of 2025, You can always change who you are.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, Isaiah is beaming here. I don't know how much you can hear it on the mic, but he is smiled nice and wide.
I'm very happy.
This was, people might recognize Frieren from our brief discussion of it during the Gang of the Year episode.
Gang of the Year nominee.
Yeah.
TV show nominee. And man... So, before we get into it, what is Frieren? I remember giving my spiel about what I think the show is and kind of describing it during the Gang of the Year episode. I would love for you to take over now that you've watched it.
Now that I'm an expert.
Yeah.
Also, just want to say, I'm really sad that I'm not dressed as Frieren for this episode. That was my dream, but then I was kind of threw this in semi last minute and didn't spend the money on the costume yet. Maybe this Halloween. We'll see. I would say Frieren is a show about it following the hero after the big battle is done and won. Notably, in that hero being Frieren. Most notably, she is an elf, so she lives a really long time. So her OG party is really old and or dead, right? Depending on who it is. So it's they're kind of sunset, long into retirement era. Again, we're dead, and she's still just alive and hanging out, and it's well, what now, and it kind of follows her journey into what her life is now, which ends up being, no spoilers, but an adventure of her own, kind of a next adventure in a way. And the show is a lot about friendship, but also sort of taking your time, Persona vibes, take your time, taking your time, getting to know the people around you, and what it means to get to know people, and also just some fire magic combat. Just because that's what I would say the show is before we get deeper into it.
Okay, all right, I like it. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean that's I think pretty close to how I described it. Yeah, the only thing I would add is. And I stole this from someone. I don't remember who. I wish I could credit them. But they kind of summarize the story as a TikTokified kind of summary is it's a story about someone realizing after the fact that they were in love. Mm-hmm. And I also think that is not necessarily the whole thing, but I do think that is a big enough recurring theme.
This I refer to it as situationship final boss. This is
yeah, that's pretty good.
It's giving is it casual now? For our Chamarone fans out there. Yeah. So that's the show, and it's funny because Well, I guare you surprised by me liking it?
Like, how did you start watching it? What was that situation
I put a
like?
gun to the back of my head. I started watching it because I don't know why I heard about the show, but I just thought it would be good. Yeah, you were like, everyone should watch this. It's like one of the best anime ever. Like, it's so good. It's a good show. You'd love it. You'd love it if you tried it. But you're not gonna try it because you hate to see me win. That was like the undertone, I think, of your thing. And then I think it was during like the holiday break time where we were all hanging out, like you, me, and my brother. And you were like, you know what I want? Like, I want us to watch Frieren. Like, and we're like, would that make you happy? And you're like, yeah, I would. And we're like, okay, we'll put it on. And you weren't really happy though from that, but
that wasn't.
But you were sort of like, I guess I have to kind of be happy now because they did what I asked. We watched like 2 episodes. It was fine. Like, I was like, this is fine, whatever. Like, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't like seeing what you kind of saw in it. And then a little bit of time passed after that, and I didn't really, pick it up again. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, let's watch some more Frieren. Why not? I want to look at something while I'm eating. It could be Frieren. There's something stopping it. And it wasn't until like, I would say maybe episode like 4 or 5 or something, where I started to kind of more regularly ask for Frieren. Like, I guess we're just watching it now. Sure. But I don't think I was like super into it. I was, I found like the plot a little bit intriguing of just like the, moment to moment episodes, especially those early ones tend to be like one of the early ones is like, oh, again, not super spoilery, but just to kind of give some insight to the structure of the show at times. It's like they're in a town and they're just kind of like stopping over on their way. And like she's traveling with this girl and it's like, all right. So yeah, I'm going to go, someone goes shopping, someone doesn't. And it's kind of just like, you're kind of meandering around. Just like, oh yeah, like we're going to get you something for your birthday. Oh, let's go out to eat. I know this one spot. All right, cool. And then they're like, dun, 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 the song plays or whatever at the end. And it's like, okay, again, I wouldn't say it was boring, but it was very like, almost like a vlog. Like, it's like, oh, we're just kind of like, it's chill in that way where it's like,
okay.
It's like, all right, we're just kind of watching someone like be in a town and they went to the store and then they got something to eat. It's kind of like got that, like a less dramatic reality show. That's why I would kind of compare it to a vlog where it's like, okay, like this is kind of what they did. And like, obviously, if you look at it on a deeper level, it's like, well, it's, them building their relationship together. You kind of get insight into like who these characters are and their motivations and like, and that is there, but it's not like, in that episode, for example, it's not like a wildly like big component. It's like an undertone, which isn't bad, but it's just not a lot to write home about to me. I'm like,
sure.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, that seems nice. Like I was kind of, I enjoyed watching, where they ended up eating their meal and the look of it, but I wasn't like taken by it. It wasn't that the thing I keep referring back to is like stuff that grabs your wrists, and kind of like, okay, now we're going, like, okay, like I didn't really have that energy to it. And then as like combat started appearing, I was like, wait, hold on. Now we have everything we need. Not that I dislike slice of life stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. It wasn't enough to like really, I mean, my ass was in the seat, but I wasn't like excited. I wasn't like, oh my God, can't wait for the next one. Cause I didn't really have, there also just wasn't momentum to like carry me forth. The next thing would be like, I guess maybe we'll go to like an old mall or like, or like, maybe we'll meet a farmer and they need us to help them with their sheep and we'll probably do that. And it'll be nice, but like, I don't know, like whatever. It felt very like anthology-like at first, but not like, not super compellingly because they didn't have like big opens, big closes. It was just kind of like, I don't know, they like, we're in a town, whatever. Yeah. And then once we started saying, okay, like, here's the kind of stuff that really could be happening out in the streets. It's like, oh, like, Frieren be fucking people up out here. Like, okay, hold on. Like, yeah. So that's really where I was like, now we have it all. We have like fun little like stuff, but also like wild challenges. And like, I felt like the combat and it's interesting because Frieren is like a really powerful character. So it kind of does fall into that problem of like, again, my only anime reference, Dragon Ball Z. It's like, oh, Goku. It's like, yeah, he's like strongest guy ever. So it's kind of like, he kind of has that Superman problem where it's like, sure, where's the intrigue going to be? And I do think they found some good solutions to elements of that or some good opponents. But like, similarly in Frieren, like there's some really great intriguing challenges that appear. So I feel like what was cool about Frieren was it didn't always just feel like, well, and then we won because we have a stronger team. Like, it felt like there were more strategic elements to some of the battles and conflicts, aided in part by the fact that it's not just Frieren existing. Like, you know, the party sort of grows over time, and they have, and those characters are more regular, you know? I mean, they still have powers and stuff, but it's not like Frieren's like God. So it's kind of like, okay, well, obviously, you know, she's like the Yoda of everybody, but she's not like, and she's a little bit of an asshole, but she's not as much of an asshole as like these other like Yoda-like figures like Yoda or what's his name, Dumbledore. Like, she doesn't do that thing where she's like, well, I know the answer, I just didn't tell you. Like, I kind of hate that trope in, you know, usually when you have like someone that powerful, they're like, I know it all, but it's for you to figure out.
Yeah.
But she is still a little bit of a jerk, but not like in an annoying way. I'm not annoyed that she's a jerk. She's like, I'm kind of a jerk because I'm not made of, you know, marshmallows. But like, this is maybe a bad person. I'm just kind of like, I kind of just am a little bit like colder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, you know? Yeah, so that's what I really liked about it. And it had some really good page turner moments where I was like, oh my God, like, I had to start asking you, can I watch this episode and stop, or will I want to just watch like the next run? Which I haven't really felt that I don't watch a lot of shows, but I haven't really felt that since like back when I watched like Severance season 1, and there was like that scene there's an elevator in every episode, but like, there was that scene in the elevator with Helly, and I was like, we ain't sleeping tonight. We gonna just keep watching these episodes. Yeah, so that was my experience with it. But what was yours?
For me, I forget where you know what, I do know. I think I originally caught a clip of this on TikTok. Without going into spoilers, it was a clip of the sort of fight between Frieren and Guillotine, I think was her name.
I think so, yeah.
The one villain. And
the Guillotine.
Yeah. That, and then followed up by a clip against I forget what the guy's name. It's like the guy who the Zoltrak guy. Yeah, these are fairly beginner of the series clips. So it wasn't, you know, enough for me to be like, oh, I feel like I know everything I've seen, you know, blah blah. I was like, oh, you know, this all right, this kind of hitting, you know. It was like one of those like 3-part TikTok kind of things where they like just show it to you all broken up. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what, am I interested in it? And then I go to the comments, people are talking like, oh my God, Frieren is so good. It's such a good show. Get a show of the year. Everyone needs to watch the show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I'm in a lull. I just finished watching, I forget what other show I was watching before this at the time, but I was like, you know, I'm in between shows right now. I ain't got nothing else on the plate. Let me boot this. And it's on Crunchyroll, which is like, all right, cool. You know what? I already got the service. Let me boot it up and check it out. And I think like you, unfortunately, when I said let's watch it, like me, you, and Edwin on like again, I think it was Christmas now, maybe New Year's. But I was like, you know, yeah, like let's like watch like, you know, 2 episodes. Give me 2 episodes. I think what I should have said was give me 3 episodes, because I think when I first watched it, it wasn't until the 3rd episode, without getting into spoilers, which is like where the party starts to form. Yeah. That I was like, okay, I'm picking up now. I'm seeing where this can go, and I'm along for the ride, kind of thing. So yeah, this was a random TikTok recommendation. The algorithm had my back that day. He gave it to me. I decided to give it a shot, and then by like 3 episodes in, I was like, all right, I'm here for it. Like, you know, another show which we'll probably talk about later, which had a similar vibe of like, oh, I just like stumbled upon this on TikTok or on, you know, YouTube short or whatever, and then eventually just kind of like dove in, and I love it, is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Long title, fantastic show. Another you know, give it like an episode or 2 or 3 kind of vibe, but if you stick with it, you'll be there.
I finally found the guy's name. It's Qual.
Qual, really?
Yeah, right. But Zoltrak
is the move.
Oh, okay. That's yeah, but it was really hard. In your defense, it was very hard for me to find his name. I had to Google I Googled like 12 different variations to describe him. And they're like, do you mean this guy? I'm like, no, the other guy. Yeah. They're like, who?
And I will say, in classic anime fashion, again, spoiler free cons to the show, so to speak. I think this show does really fall prey to proper nouns. In that like there are a lot of names that they say enough for you to recognize that it is someone or something, but not necessarily enough for me to know immediately who or what they're talking about. Like the hero's party, right? The original party that Frieren was a part of. I think it on my first watch, it took me like 4 episodes to like really learn. Okay, so that's Himmel and that's Heiter and that's Eisen. Okay, cool. All right, no, that's Eisen and that's Himmel. Okay, cool. All right, and then like eventually you do get it, and then it just becomes second nature.
There's not too much like necessarily like lore terminology, but there are like a good amount of characters where it's like you might just kind of forget who people are. But I never found it like to create confusion for it. It's just more like,
I think it is just
that's
world building.
the one, because you kind of know who they are even if you don't know their name. It's like, like this guy. I was like, I knew exactly who you're talking about. I just didn't know what his name was because they like, I don't know, they only said like twice or whatever. He was just like kind of a quick.
Yeah, unfortunately they do like. There's enough world building that they have all these characters and these characters have names and backstories and stuff, but they go over it enough also that you can internalize it and like kind of like consume it to the point where you just know then. Again, by halfway through the season, I was totally fine. Wasn't confused by names or faces or anything like that.
Were you surprised that the thing that I was most into was the fighting and not the like
eating snacks? A little bit. Not because I think the fighting in the show is fantastic. Yes, exactly. I think I knew you were going to be at least open to it because of like the cutesiness of it. And I thought that was going to be like the thing to grab you. And then the fighting would be like, like a Dragon Ball Z kind of thing where it's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, nice battle. I like it. Yeah. Whoo, yeah, go. I can't wait for the next one kind of thing. Oh, but that cake looked really good. So I thought it was going to be the cutesy slice of life stuff that like really grabbed you and brought you in. And it turns out it sounds like it was the fighting and the slice of life stuff was like a icing on the cake. Yes. You know what I mean? Like,
and there were times where it was like fun to have like, Frieren is very much like kind of like a grump, she's kind of grumpy. She's like a little mean by nature, not by malice. Like she kind of has this personality of just like, I didn't think that you'd want me to, ask you to the coffee shop kind of. If this is just a made up scene, this didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, why wouldn't you think I want to go with you? It's like, I don't know. I kind of just want to go by myself. It's not impersonal. And it's like, man, Frieren's kind of an asshole, But like, she's not really an asshole. She's just kind of like, just has that personality that isn't very like warm and
very
cuddly.
Aloof,
She's also not very like, I guess, in a sense, like socially well adjusted.
Yes.
But she's like cool with that. Like she ain't got no beef with it. She's just like, and she's just like, well, I got you this because it seemed like you cared about it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, thanks. She's like, that's all good. Like, she's just a chill ass bitch. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But so she has that element of her personality, but she also is very like endearing in that like she's like this cute little elf, and then also she is like loves to snack and like shop and like she's always sleeping. So I think she does have like you do kind of want to like pick her up, but she's like, she's kind of an asshole, but it's like okay, yeah. And I find that very charming and endearing, and I like those parts of the show. I found Frieren very relatable. I was like, I too am seen as a bitch who likes to snack and sleep. I'm like, this is me. Like I'm finally represented on screen. Like, like why is everyone mad? Like I don't know. I don't get it. I'm just sitting here. Yeah. So I found that very like relatable and charming. But yeah, it was cool to like see them snack and hang out. But like what really got me into it was like the magic, the cool spells. I love good magic. This is true in games, and there's not a lot of games I've personally played. Mostly just 'cause I haven't played a lot of games that have magic, like holistically, right? Like, I've played mostly like, a million Marios, right? And like Mario ain't doing magic. He's doing things that could be magic, but it's not, So, but I do like magic in games a lot. Like I always play as the mage class, even though it's usually like low-key kind of a boring class to play. But it's like, I like the spells. I like powers, and that magic is just powers, So this was really cool. And like, this has made me want to chase even more magic stuff in games because I'm like, why don't I feel as cool as this looks? It's not fair. Like, and I put up a post on BlueSKy the other day that was like asking about that. Like, what's what's a game where I can feel like I'm a badass magician? And really, I want to be Frieren. But I know if they made that Frieren game, that game gonna suck. But if someone will make it, I'll buy it. I don't care. I don't care.
I will be there for the suck.
I'm gonna be there regardless. Yeah.
Jinx. So what? I guess it goes without saying, you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I loved it.
Love the show. Fun hypothetical. Going back, should this have been our Gang of the Year?
Yo, easy. Honestly, like it's way better than Ryan Serhan's fucking show about real estate. Even though that's fun in its own way. Like it was cool. But yeah, this would have easily won. I don't know that I already do this with games, so I doubt I want to like become like, let me make sure I play and watch enough stuff. You know, especially Gang of the Year. It's so broad. Like I don't think.
Sure.
I think it'd be like a big undertaking for us to like
trying to keep up with everything.
Unless like maybe this became our like really like, oh, we're making like 100 bands a year off Gangcast. We can, okay, sure. I guess let me just watch some more anime.
All right, guys, we have a goal.
Yeah,
new financial goal just dropped.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if it did, that would probably tilt the scales a little bit. Where I'm like, yeah, let's put even more effort into because obviously it's financially more viable. But yeah, like I do wish I could go back. Also, it's like a quick watch too. Like how many episodes is it?
I mean, well, there's a good hint. I think it's like 28 episodes.
Yeah,
but they're the 20-minute episodes. It's not.
Yeah. It's a medium watch.
Yeah.
It's definitely like I think too in terms of anime terms. Like when anime gets long, it's like, oh, you have seasons of all of these. Well, this is just one season.
Yes,
30 episodes. And yeah, like I was eating them episodes up. I'd be like late at night watching it before going to sleep. I wake up. More for it was so sad when it ended because I'm like, now what do I stare at when I eat?
I think the other cool part about it too is that like for a lot of the episodes, at least in the beginning for sure, are almost like split in the middle too, where like the first that 12 to 15 minute is like one story, and then the second half of the 20-25 minute episode is like another story, which I thought was really cool. Like there was a lot of stuff that happened in this rewatch with you that I was like, I remember that being like later, and this is like episode 4. Like what's going on here? I will say, big con to the watching experience, Crunchyroll, man, fix your player.
Oh yeah, it's been fun getting to join Isaiah in the anime community because I was like, hey, like this, why is the UI like this?
Dude,
and you're
it's
like,
so bad.
It really felt like the inverse of years ago at this point. Me and you like went to San Diego for Valentine's Day. Like, oh, let's just get like a little like hotel. I think it was an Airbnb actually that we got. Like, just we feel like we're out of town. We'll just like relax, change of pace. That'll be our Valentine's Day like gift to each other. Kind of hanging out. We hung out, ordered some food, played some games. One of the games we played was Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Great game, fun,
Fantastic
had a great time.
Game. Yeah.
Isaiah wasn't familiar really with Pikmin like that, like at the time, and I think it was my first Pikmin game, but I knew a lot about Pikmin already. We played it, had a lot of fun, and he said, "This is great. When's the next one coming out?" And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I was like, for someone to ask that, like genuinely, like I felt like I was getting an aneurysm because I had spent so much time, which I'm sure hearing this now might seem a little silly if you're not familiar. Pikmin 3 to Pikmin 4, like that gap was pretty sizable, but also it's just like it was a discussed game a lot. Like it was the equivalent of if someone just started playing Metroid and said, Metroid Prime, and said like, oh man, this is awesome. When's Prime 4 coming out?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Like, are you actually genuinely asking? That's crazy that you could even genuinely ask that. So me being like, hey, like, what's up with this Crunchyroll UI? You're like, this is something that the whole, everybody is so mad at.
Yeah. And the thing is, they had other, this is a side tangent. There was a service, VRV, which like partnered with Crunchyroll to like, if you had a VRV account, you could like access Crunchyroll content on their platform, almost like a Hulu, Disney Plus kind of situation.
Sure.
Except in this case, it'd be like if Hulu had an ass interface and then Disney Plus had a great interface, but then they all of a sudden just shut down Disney Plus or like ripped all the Hulu content out of Disney Plus. So if you wanted Hulu content, you had to go to Hulu. And it's like, well, why? You had a solution. Everything was great. It was all fine. And yeah, so I don't know why that happened, but eventually I had to move over to Crunchyroll to get my Crunchyroll content. And
but yeah, it's definitely, especially if you're doing, I was just watching through Isaiah's account, and since he already watched everything, it's like,
it was all
would never remember what's going on.
Honestly, these services need to add a like clear watch history or like a reset watched status kind of thing for these shows so that I can rewatch stuff without losing track because I've rewatched it before.
But I did find the structure to like bring back to the structure of the show to be really fun in that way too, where it did have like the multiple plot points in one episode. Yeah, it was just a fun time. Fun time with a great group of people. Yeah.
Good.
You were right, Isaiah.
Your recommendation. Love to hear it.
Your Audi gives good recommendations.
Great recommendations.
Yeah. Your Audi waits patiently for their friends and family to take their Rex.
Who I guess before we maybe jump into spoiler territory, as a last recommendation almost, like who would you recommend this show to? Now that I've recommended it.
It's for the Magic Girlies. Magical Girlies. It's a magical girl show, and I think is really the actual pitch I should have said. Like a magical girl show with a non-infantilized magical woman. Because I think the kind of the issue, if you want to call it that, like, you know, with it's not bad because there's nothing like inherently bad about like a young girl, because like Sailor Moon, like they're literally young girls.
Sure.
And like Frieren is like a super adult because she's very old. So I guess I should maybe like take that back. But I guess it's like it's nice to see like an adult like woman in that role because, you know, and I'm sure there's lots of magical girl content that I'm not familiar with. So definitely give me your magical girl Rex. They're fun. It's a fun trope that I enjoy. But yeah, so it's for the magical girlies. It's also for the people who like badass fights. It's for I would say, I don't know. I mean, it's a good story. So, and I think I'm trying to think of what else. What did I recommend it for? I really recommend this towards everyone. And I have a hard time having someone like thinking that someone wouldn't enjoy it, even though I do think the start, I think to some people could seem slow. Like if you really just care about like the kind of the fighting and like the juice of the story, like the what is the core conflict, it takes a little while for the core conflict to form.
To that note, I think it was like episode 8 is where they go to that one village and then like stuff really starts to pick up combat wise. So I think like, which I guess 7 episodes is kind of an ask. 6 to 7 episodes.
Yeah, I think also it's just like the beginning of the show. It's sort of like, well, what are we really doing here? And it's like they don't know. Like and like the characters don't really know, which I think that's fine, but that is a reality. Like the again, the show structure, it's like Frieren's like, what's going on now with my life? It's been forever. And also, it's worth noting that the last like kind of big battle that like the last party she was part of, like that party been done for a while. Like it's not like they ended on Tuesday and she back to work on the next Monday. It's like, it's been like decades and decades of time. But it's sort of, you know, like she sort of like is thinking back on those times and is like, okay, well, like what now or whatever, and sort of pursues looking into like that old cast, and that can that leads her to like take on a new journey. But even the initial new journey she takes on is very vague because it's just like it's basically just like, she has like a student is kind of how the things kick off. It's like, she's gonna take this girl under her wing and like teach her about magic. But they don't have like a set goal. It's not like, and you're gonna use that magic to get to
beat this New York, big bad,
you know, or like kill whatever. Like there are motivations that then form later, but their journey is very much like, we just out here like digging around. Like we don't really got anything going on. I guess you're gonna learn magic along the way. Yeah, maybe we'll see. Like it's kind of like okay. It very much is like she's a teacher, but there's no lesson plan, bro. Like she just literally just showing up. She putting a VHS in that. She put the DVD. She brought the TV in, and she's like, I don't know, whatever.
Truly like a study hall.
Slash it's kind of like, I'm going to teach you, but like you're going to learn by running errands with me. It's kind of like the vibe.
Yeah, it's like a ride along vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely. But it's not like really giving training day until like later. Like I wanted like, it's like if you're looking for training day, like you're not going to get that with these. It's more like, we stop and we get some cupcakes. Every now and then there's like, there's like this devil in a hole that I guess we'll take out. Why don't you take him out? Because you kind of need to practice anyway. It's like, okay, I guess.
That is very, very much the case.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, now we have like a plan. We're like forming things up. We're like looking at memories and stuff. It's also like, I guess it's like, it's a show for if you want to like feel a little like wistful, you know? If you liked, DBTF by Bad Bunny, the Divertir Más Fotos song. It's like, this is that. Like, if you like that song, you might like this anime. Because that's kind of what the anime is about. Like I should have, spent more time, took more photos, when I had you. Like, that's what the anime is about. Like, it is that song. So, yeah, there you go. What about you? Who do you recommend this for?
I think I recommend, I like you said, and like I said before, I kind of recommend it to everyone. I know it's like a very cop-out answer, but I do think there's like basic appeal in the show, but also like incredibly highs for basic people, and so like anyone can enjoy that high because of that. Like it is, I'm someone who like, outside of like a shonen, sure, I'll take a good shonen. Give me some teenager who unlocks a power and now they're the strongest in the world or something like that. Fine, cool. But I think more than that, I enjoy a nice like isekai or like show where the team is like good, but they don't even know that they're good, and their like journey is about realizing that they're good and like that they're special kind of thing or something like that. And so like this doesn't necessarily follow that same like story graph, but it does hit some of the same points of like reminding you that like, oh no, Frieren's like, she was a part of the party that defeated the big bad. Like there are moments in the show that's like, okay, I can see why. I can see how that works out. Also at the same time, it's like, also she had a life before she joined that party, and that was a carefree life where she was learning spells and growing flowers and in the forest foraging and stuff. Like it's a show that I think the name is very, very accurate. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End, and the show is about what is the life of this person after defeating the big bad. And just like it's not like they defeated Frieza and then Cell showed up. It's like, oh no, they defeated Frieza and now they just live for a bit. And it's like, well, what happens during that bit?
Yeah.
So I think that's just really cool from a like idea standpoint and like storytelling standpoint. And if you are interested at all in that as well, then I would definitely recommend it.
I think the only like light ding against Frieren that I have is that it's a little bit like, I guess, where that, and you could argue that like, well, you with any party you need a certain structure of like different classes.
Those are terrible classes.
It kind of does just feel like there is an element to the story that kind of feels like, so you just running it back, like it's just copy paste. It's like, it's almost like her party is kind of giving oh my god, what's the name of the guy? The boat. Like if you change the boat out.
Oh, Ship of Theseus?
Yeah, the Ship of Theseus. She got a Ship of Theseus ass party. That's sort of like, I don't know. There's nothing narratively or action wise that detracts from that, but I think it's a little bit of a like, sure, girl. Like, okay, no, you need another one of this guy. And it's like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, again, it didn't really bother me, but it is kind of like, in a way, a little bit of a negative, just because it's like, I feel like you just swapping out these people.
Sure.
But that's being said, the party construction is inherently different just because they do have like, again, without getting spoilers on the people in the party, it's like you know pretty early on that you start with Frieren and Fern. Fern being the girl that she takes under her wing. Fern is a mage. Fern's a mage. So it's like, it's already a different party structure because you have two mages. But some of the other elements are just like, okay, like, I guess. But then even then they do have like surprises along the way that do make it more than just like we're getting the band back together, but the band's too old, so now we have like Gen 2 of these like kids or whatever. But there is a little bit of that. So if that bothers you,
I say still give it a shot, but
I could see that maybe bothering somebody, but I still think it's a great show. I love the show, and that's Frieren, spoiler free. We're not gonna get into the spoiler territory, unless is there something you want to say before we go into spoilers?
No, I'm all set to
all right.
Hop into spoilers.
So now we will spoil this show. If you don't want spoilers, this is your time to leave. Come back towards the end when we talk about our next anime.
Yeah, jump ahead to pull the show. Or actually, the next segment. Anime, what's next for Janet? Okay,
but spoiler stuff for Frieren. Where do you want to start? What do you want to talk about? What are some things you want to get off your chest?
Oh, man. I think...
Oh, here. I have something actually. Sorry.
Okay. No, good.
Actually, you go because I don't want you to forget it.
I didn't have anything, so
That's so funny. I think sometimes when I start a sentence, I just go. I don't know where it's going. The show was building for me before this stuff, but for me, when I was like, "This is the fucking greatest shit ever," is when she went into that little jail with that little demon boy. And did she like cut his head off, I think, or something? First she cut his hands off.
Yeah.
And then she choked him out and his head exploded. I was like, hold on. Wait. Bro.
Yeah. It like the story was very, and again, I think this happened around like episode 8, right? Like they're on this journey, they pick up Stark by this point, so it's Frieren, Fern, and Stark. They come to the city, and all of a sudden these like demons come out from like turning a corner, and they're walking with like the king of the city and stuff. And Frieren's about it. Like first of all, she is no hesitation. She 10 toes down. She whip out her staff, and she is ready to like fight this demon that she just saw in the middle of a city. No care, like ready to pull up. And mind you, this is the first time also in the show that we've seen Frieren like this, where it's like, oh, what's going on? Like, yo, she's about to square up against this random dude who we've seen magical creatures before. She ain't never act like this. So already I feel like I was on high alert, like, oh, this is like serious. This is something. We find out that, Frieren has a history with the demons, and like how they like, originally demons killed her village and this, that, and the third. And like, she's like, don't trust demons. Like whatever you do, don't trust demons. They do nothing but lie, cheat, and steal, and they kill them. Just kill them. It doesn't matter what they say. Don't listen to it. Just kill them. And the episode ends with like Frieren being thrown in jail because she basically was about to square up in the middle of this town square and put people in harm's way and stuff. And the village king was like, hey, we gotta put her in a holding cell, blah blah blah. And then one of the demons are kind of like looking to trick the village into thinking that they're friends and that like they want to work together.
It was a peace envoy, and that's actually why she got thrown in jail. It wasn't just because it was like you can't square up in the town square. It was oh well, we're coming in to. We trying to sign this peace treaty, and Mama just jumping us. It's like, that's crazy. They're like, oh, now that I don't even fuck with her like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why she goes into jail.
And then one of the guys from
something
the
wild too, like 10 years or something.
It was something stupid. Yeah. Which to her is nothing, but
for she's journeying with humans, so it's like you kind of have to.
And yeah,
she would have killed it in Interstellar. I'll tell you what. She's like, how long?
Yeah. Oh,
it's all good. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, one of the guys from the little demon peace envoy come in to the jail cell and was like, hey, my boss says he said that you were going to be a problem, so I'm actually here I'm the fixer. I'm here to take you out. And Frieren, just being the badass that she is, she's like, all right, I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's just get it over with, kind of thing. And he tried to like, pull some moves on her, choke her up with like his ability,
the razor
kind
wire.
of like magic razor wire, basically, And like he tried to choke her, but just naturally she's got her defenses up, and she wasn't able to do it, or he wasn't able to do it. And eventually she just like flipped the script and just like murdered him. And it was like, oh shit. Okay. Like, and that was the cliffhanger. Like that was the end of the episode. And it's just like, you were like, well, I can't stop here. We got to watch the next episode. Do they solve this? Is that what's going on? And, so yeah, no, there's, I think, a couple moments like that, especially in this like arc, so to speak. Like I said, Frieren, she fights the aura, the guillotine. Yeah. And it's like, that also has a similar moment where it's like that fight's going one way and you in your head kind of know that Frieren has to win. Yeah. But like the way that Frieren wins by just like showing not only Aura, the villain, but also you, the viewer. Oh, like, no, Frieren is that bitch. Like she's fucking sweet and just fucking one-sides the villain.
I think too what I really like about it, and I feel like I'm playing on easy mode here because I have my laptop where I'm looking at the summaries. I got the clips pulled up just to refresh my memory. Yeah, there's so many cool things about the scene with the magical wire, the razor wire or whatever. One is that he the guy's name's like Drot or whatever is the demon that like comes into the cell, and he comes in hangs her by the wire. She blocks it with magic, but the magic's just around that little bit of her neck, which I feel like already is like, wow, like what a pro, because I think she teaches Fern earlier on, who's like her student or whatever, is like when you're doing defensive spells, ideally you cast it as like small as you need to because it takes a lot of your like energy or like your mana, it depletes your mana. And I'm like, I'm familiar with this from video games. Okay, cool. Yes, my mana. I know. I guess I don't have mana potions in this world. You can't just like spam item your way to success. But at least not in season 1.
Yeah.
Season 2, maybe. I don't know. So just the fact that she can concentrate it in such a small spot is cool. Another thing I really like about the scene is it speaks to an element of the show that I think does make the fights and things really compelling, which is like creative problem solving. It's not like, sure, in a way, could Frieren have taken out like, I don't know, a big magic hammer and like hit him in the head? Probably. I'm sure there's something that she has to do that. But it's about like using the least that you need to use and being like thoughtful. So instead it's like, oh, he's holding the wire that's hanging me. I'm just going to cut his hand off that's holding the wire. And it's like, wow, like does it, no hesitation. He has like a counter that's more of his like razor wire like coming out or whatever. So she cuts both his hands off, and the wires that are still cast from his hands are flying through the cell. And then no hesitation, boom, she gets on top of him. She squeezes his neck. His head explodes. All you see is just the blood gushing everywhere. Yep. She has no facial emotions during any of this.
Nope.
And also it avoids like a negative trope that I associate with a lot of anime. Even though, again, my anime knowledge is very small. It's mostly just Dragon Ball Z, and then just kind of seeing things here and there. It's like, oh, I know about One Piece. It's really long. Every now and then, like, I don't know. You see, as an anime outsider, like, the things you see are, like, very big, just, like, stereotype things. Like, One Piece is really long. I guess, like, Attack on Titan's, like, kind of cool. This one has, like, a weird sexual angle for no reason. Like, and that's honestly, like, a big, like, negative towards like anime. Like I just feel like every now and then it's like there's a regular ass story and then it's like this girl's in love with his brother, or just like titties. And Frieren doesn't have any titties in it. It has a couple sexual jokes, but nothing too wild. They're like very mild little things, and some of them are actually like really funny too. Like there's to get away from this for a second, there's like the joke that when they were trying to like get the new priest to like join the party. And he's like, oh, he loves older women. And she's like, well, I got this, y'all. And she blows him a kiss. And she's like, Himmel went crazy for that. I don't know why it didn't work. And it's just funny to think of like, she's like, wait, guys, I got it. Yeah. I'm going to be so sexy. And it's like, she's not sexy at all. I mean, she's like a cute elf, I guess. But, you know, there's nothing like, she didn't do anything sexy. Like, you know, it's like, it's just funny that she's like, this hits 100% of the time. And then she's like, this is what my mentor taught me, that this would make men go crazy, which is that's really funny to me. Anyway, but yeah, the thing that the trope this avoids is the long fucking speeches. And video games falls into this too. I always thought it was so stupid though. Like, so it's like a big like fight and we're just gonna have this long speech like in between, like it doesn't make any sense. Like why wouldn't she just be like fighting? And what I love about the scene, there isn't any like, I know you. I know the like but they still get to that kind of stuff. Like you still get story stuff. You still do have some battles that have conversation, whether they're explicit conversations or internal conversations that you as the viewer hear. But it avoids the like, like we don't need to like
villain speech
or the just cheesy, the villain speech or the like, oh my God, how did she do that? Like you get that sometimes, but like in this instance, it's like boom. She about that action, you've seen she about the action looks cool, and it's done. This scene is 1 minute and 12 seconds long. And it's like, that's all it needs to be. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I got everything I needed. And again, you get all the stuff you need because they like feed it to you throughout. It's why I think the story is good, where it's like, they don't need to have Drawl be like, oh my God, the fact that she defended against this with such a small amount of mana, because you as the viewer are already trained to know that like, oh, this is an example of her using that defensive mana in a really strategic way.
They do a lot of showing, don't tell.
Yeah.
Like, and
well, they tell you earlier, so when they show you later, like they know because they already set it up.
Or by that I meant like they don't spend a lot of time explaining why something is the way it is, and instead they'll just cut to a flashback or like multiple flashbacks over time, and like you said, show you why would she just protect her neck in that situation? Yeah, you know what I mean. Instead of like,
you must protect your neck. Just in that one song.
I feel like another show would have just as easily had her do that, and then while hanging there, she would have had a conversation with Drop like, I knew you were gonna do that, and so I just protected my neck because it saves mana and blah blah blah, and like just this long spiel. It's like, no, we don't need that. Just give out that action. Yeah, and I mean, I
was like, fuck the cupcakes. The second we're fucking choking bitches out and their heads are exploding into the jail cell. I'm like, now we have a show. Let's go.
And the thing, like, I mean, I guess very selfishly, I wish there were more fight scenes in the show.
Yeah,
there's a good amount of combat, especially like towards the end, when they get to like the mage.
Yeah, it's
academy.
It's funny because I was talking about the show on Remap a few weeks ago, and I mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, I really love Frieren. I love the fights. Like the fights are so cool. I'm like, and I alluded to the fact that like, oh yeah, I was like, once the fights really started, that's when I was like really into it. And Austin Walker said, oh, the part of the show that just becomes a battle royale, which is the later part, which I did also really like. But yeah, I got more into it earlier than that. But yeah, the sort of like the test to become first class mage, and just having like these different tasks that you have to do, which is also like something I thought was really cool. Is like, again, they have like really interesting powers and magical shit going on, because it's like, and again, if you like magic, this is like a must fucking watch show. Because literally like at the end they're like, you're now gonna meet like 15 of the baddest magician bitches ever, and they're all like really different. Like they have very different personalities, they have very different skill sets, and I really like that angle too, because I feel like a lot of times with mages, you usually see like women as mages. Like I don't feel like I'm sure there are many examples of male mages, but like you just, when you think magical girl, sure. It's a magical boy, right? It's magical girl, not magical boy. I guess was Tuxedo's mask magical? I don't know what he was doing. He was just fucking standing there, being an asshole. But anyway, but like I like that you get like like the old man who's like also a mage, and like these just different people. Like you see more mages than you normally see, and they're all like badass in their own ways and have these different things that are really cool. And obviously Frieren's still like the big bitch there, she's like the baddest of everybody, but like everyone else has like really cool abilities. Like the fucking again, I almost feel like, because I know there's gonna be people listening to this that are like, oh, I don't care about the spoilers, but then later might be like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't hear it. But it is a spoiler cast, so I gotta go full on the spoilers. The guy, when he fucking wasn't even there, shut up. Woo! I was like, okay, we got a badass here. There was this I guess I'll try to find the character's name. The dude who he can make a copy. Yeah,
his whole ability is about clone. Like he creates clones.
And throughout you see like him having a clone, and there's like that girl who's like the fucking psychopath mage girl.
I forgot her name too.
We'll find the names in a second if we have time to. But she was like, clocking his tea in terms of that, like, oh, like I could tell that's your clone. I know it's your clone. Oh, that's your clone. Okay, cool. And she's trying to get to know him because through like empathy, she can like steal people's abilities basically. So she's like, I'm trying to like get to know you because I'm trying to make them clones, like, so she's like hanging out with him a lot, and he's like doesn't give a fuck about her. He's like, I guess, like, I don't know, whatever, like just you're just trying to get my power from me. So it's like not really a big fan.
She's Ubel and he's Land. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, I never gonna get that in a million years. Land. But at the end, the last test is just what's the name of the one chick that doesn't wear any shoes? She's like the head mage of like society.
Siri.
Is it Siri?
Serie?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Sari? Yeah, I guess Sari.
Yeah. Anyway, she's like the head honcho of like the mage world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is Sari, or something like that. Anyway, yeah, I'm like the chick who don't wear no shoes. Yeah, there's in the issue out just barefoot. I know the bottom of them feet dirty as hell. Maybe she got a fucking spell to cast denastify her feet or something. Anyway, but she's there, and she's like, "Oh, the final test. I'm just going to interview people, and that's it. Just pass, fail, whatever." And when she like met with him, she was like, "Oh, you didn't even show up for the exam." And it turns out what you saw, he zooms out. He's at home drinking fucking tea.
Yeah,
he got clones of clones of clones. It's clones all the way down, and that was like such a cool reveal. And again, I think also speaks to like her power as like the only one that like maybe Frieren also noticed it and just didn't say anything. We don't actually know or not. But Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely a highlight. Also, was it Ubel? Ubel fighting that one bitch with the hair I can't stand. She got that one bang.
Her name is Sense.
I will say, like, this anime does fall into the trope of like hair that doesn't make any fucking sense. I hated her fucking hair. I want to brush that hair out of her fucking face.
Exactly
oh my
god.
God.
Too. But like even in, I like that one of the things I really like about magic in this world is that they establish rules and then stick with the rules too.
Yeah.
Like magic, once you get to like this whole like first class mage exam arc, they establish very early on that like magic is about what you can imagine. And it's like, you know, your ability as far as a mage is as far as you can imagine it to be, kind of thing. And it's like, well, if you don't have a great imagination, if you can't see yourself doing something, then you will not be able to do it. And like with Ubel, her character kind of like embodies that, where it's like this is the like second time that she's taken this exam, because the first time she killed the proctor who was like giving the exam, who had this like shield that's been magically enhanced to be the highest defense thing ever. Yeah. And like, but she grew up with a sister who, you know, did, sewed clothes and, you know, make clothes and stuff like that. She's very familiar with like the way that clothes work. And in her imagination, in her mind, she knows that clothes can be cut. And so her magic allowed her to kill this man who had this like uncuttable thing. And it's like, that's sweet to me. Like that is them stretching the story within the scope of the rules they've established. And it's like, that's so cool to me.
I also think like this anime does a great job using flashbacks in a way that still progresses the story forward. Like you don't get like the flashback episode, which I think is another annoying anime trope. Or honestly, low-key, it's a little annoying in general. Like even when it's not anime, I'm kind of like, okay, sometimes it is necessary to get something like that. I won't talk about any other, stuff that might have there, but we'll have a different spoiler cast for different things, I suppose. Sometimes it's necessary. So I'm not against flashbacks, but I think sometimes they're a little too like heavily used, or they're almost like a break from like what's going on. And I think with how Frieren set up, they do them really sparingly and like in a way that makes sense. And they also like allude to them so that you're excited when they appear, because she killed the proctor. We knew about that from like the beginning of like meeting her, like early on into meeting her, we knew that she killed the proctor.
It was like a throwaway line.
Yeah.
Like they do reference it. Yeah.
And so then when it finally gets to like the culmination of, oh, why does she think, cause what's the name of the girl with the long hair again? Was it? Sense is like super powerful. And has this really long hair, and like the hair is like fucking infused with magic. She has like a 30 inch magical weave. Yeah, very much bust down weave. Yeah. She said it's this. Oh my god, it's too many jokes for that. Anyway, but yeah, hair super long, super powerful, and no one else wants to square up against her. And she's like, oh yeah, I can do it easy, like because I can just like knock her out.
If I have to do it, then like, I will do it. Yeah.
So this is light work, and everyone's like, I don't know why you think you can kill her. Like that's crazy. Well, to be more specific, her like a copy kind of. It's like they're like the magical copies that they all have to face. And then they kind of show her, believing in that before. And then it was also like that conversation she had with her too after killing the proctor, and was like, "It's a nice hair. You ever think of cutting it?" It's like, ooh, oh my god, like what are we? So I think that was really cool. Having them fight these different clones too, like within the dungeon was really interesting as well. Especially because I think what's another element of the show that's so cool is like, and Frieren's so powerful. So, okay, what are you gonna put against Frieren? So when they put Frieren against Frieren, it was like, oh.
Yeah, the final boss to the second exam was a clone of Frieren. And it's like, yeah, you got to defeat this clone to beat the exam and make it out. And it's like, how do you do that? How do you overcome? And the game, and the thing is, the story, like, there was no magical sort of like story, magical story item that let them like, oh well, if we'll get the rod of powerfulness, and then the Frieren can't beat that. No, like Frieren's going to square up with you, like, and you got to just outbeat Frieren. And like, how do you do that? And like,
I also like that they didn't go where I thought they would go with it, which I kind of assumed they would go with something like more mental. Like, I never told you this, but I'm afraid of spiders or something. You know, I don't know, something like psychological. I thought it'd be like, oh, when I like something like mad corny, that'd be like, the truth is, I could never kill Fern. So if we just put Fern out there, she's going to tank her way through it or something like that. It was like, nah, like, I'm going to just kill anybody here. Because it's just, also, again, they're also just clones. So they don't have the, you know, which is also fun, like seeing them work through
what is the clone?
Yeah,
like,
what is the clone? Like, is it a human or not? Like, can it, what was the big thing? Does it have a mind, I think was the question.
Does it have a mind you can control?
Because if it doesn't, it's not weak to psychic because it doesn't have a mind, technically. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons why I don't think they could do. She loves Fern too much to kill her, so put Fern in front of the. But I did kind of think, I don't know, they go somewhere with like who she is, and you know, the truth is, when I see the ring Himmel gave me, I'm like, oh my god, it's like, there's not anything like that. You just gotta outfight her.
But to that, they do kind of. They do that in the best way possible, where it's like the flaws of real Fern are also the flaws of copy Fern. Yeah. And like then playing with that and being strategic and having the characters come together to like find a solution to the fight and everything.
I also think like, you know, there isn't a lot, if any, death in the show. I don't think. I'm trying to think, does anyone like, obviously some of the bad guys, like the demons and stuff die. But I don't think any of like the I think some of the kids in the test died at some point early on. I think
in the first one.
A couple people did die or whatever.
They got eaten by the birds.
And also I like how quick those kinds of things are, like, because it adds like a layer of shock and also like urgency to like viewing it. Like just like when the girl one of the test takers tried to like mind control, I think what's her name? The long hair? Sense, like the Sense clone copy or whatever, and she went out there and was like, I forgot, Neil or something like that, and that shit did not work. She got sliced the fuck up. It was like, like this show, like it'll make you go, oop, like oh shit, like, they just did not, like, they were just whoo. Fern got tossed aside. Her staff, they broke that thing in half. You know, it was just like, okay. So I think that element's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's other like stuff that I want to shout out from the show.
How do you feel about like the trajectory of the story? Because I know, like, to me that was also something where, just for context, going into the story again, we already talked about in the very beginning, it's kind of just like all right, Fern and party defeated the big bad, and now they're just going about their lives afterwards. Like, there is no Cell saga on the horizon that like we as the viewer clearly know of or anything. So it's just like, all right, what happens after you beat Frieza? And it's like, well, cool, I'm here for the journey, but I don't know where this is going. And where it ends up is that like they're looking to go to heaven, which is a physical place in this world where spirits go after you die, I guess. And they're going there to, I forget why. I think just to see Himmel and
she's trying to mac on Himmel. That's it. Like,
again, the MacGuffin is not very clear, nor is it really like needed to be. It's about the journey, right? But like, you know, we know that they're trying to go to heaven.
She's going to see her non-baby daddy.
How do you feel about how this played out? Like, I wasn't so sure if you would think like, well, this is stupid because there is no Cell for them to fight next.
I don't mind there not being a Cell. I don't need a big bad. I'm sure those things will happen. And I feel like the show has already shown that there's plenty of action to be had. Like, you can have good action without having like a big bad.
Sure.
And also really compelling challenges. Like, I think that mage exam was cool because it wasn't just like, all right, everyone bring out their staff and whoever got the longest staff, you know, like, you know, it was like testing different things. And also it became even cooler with like having like Fern do it. And I like the sort of construction of how much Frieren, like any good teacher, is pushing Fern to like believe in herself and who she is. So it's like, she's like, oh, you're third class? Why aren't you first class? Like, oh, the exam wasn't there yet. And it's like, well, obviously, and you know, Fern's like, well, Frieren, you're gonna have to like be the first class. And she's like, now we both signed up. What are you talking about? And then Frieren couldn't even get it because Siri's a hating ass bitch.
Yeah.
Which that was also fun. Like with her being
I can't wait to
Siri's
see
not gonna
her.
give it to me because she's a bitch. She gonna fail you, but then she's gonna be like, you know what? You kind of sweet with it though,
Yeah.
so I kind of can't fail you. But she is gonna offer you something. You don't really gotta do it, but you could do it if you want to. And these are all the things that are gonna happen. And then everything was true, which was like, yeah. Also, like, just real quick, shout out to like the dumb shit in this story. Like the thing that you get when you, if you become first class, is you can get any spell in existence from Siri. Like Siri will like teach you just any fucking spell.
Yeah.
And the spell she picks is the one that can like clean clothes like really thoroughly. And that's like really cute and funny and dumb. And I love that for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, with the only thing with the trajectory of the story that sort of, it didn't irk me, but it's something that like I did clock and it did kind of make me feel a little salty, was like learning that they definitely wouldn't be getting to heaven. Cause I was like, Isaiah, they've been on this fucking exam for 4 episodes. There's not enough time for them to get to heaven. That's a problem that every show has though, especially just, I think that's always been a problem with shows, because even before streaming existed, you still usually, I think back in the day, would know like maybe how many episodes were of a thing. I forgot how that was communicated to you, but I feel like we knew how long the Frieza saga was, which I don't know what that's our that's the
I think it was like
we have.
Usually this stuff is like adapted from manga, and so it's like, okay, like I know that the manga is this many pages,
I guess, but
they're
I
doing
wonder
about
like
this many episodes per page. You could do some rough math.
I'm like losing my mind now, because I'm like, actually back in the day, did we know like how many episodes a season of SpongeBob? You know what I mean? Was that viewer facing? That's what I mean.
It might have been, and I just never looked into it.
I think it was through probably like, again, this is gonna make it sound like we're like way younger than we are in a way, but like maybe like through the TV Guide or something. I don't know. I think that information was public information somewhere.
Public, yeah,
but
I just didn't care because I was a kid.
Forget like how it was, but I'm sure it was. So all of that to say is my very long-winded way of saying this is always a problem in any medium, because if you can see what's left, you can presume what might not happen. It's also why, like, at a certain point in a movie, I'm like, we can't even pause it because that's going to be a spoiler for the movie if I know where we're at in the story. And even in, like, a book, you have that because there's only so many pages. So you can see, okay, well, there's not that many pages. Or knowing if there's a second book, it's like, okay, well, they probably live because there's a second book. So that's, like, a art problem, not like a anime or Frieren problem. But I did definitely notice that. And it's just something I noticed. Like, it didn't really, like, make it work. It made me a little sad because I'm like, well, we're obviously not getting to heaven this time because they're out of time. But I was kind of okay with that. Like, I didn't need us to get to heaven, but I was kind of just like, yeah, we ain't getting to heaven, I guess. All right, like, we'll just keep walking, I guess. Like, I don't know. And I did really enjoy all of the stuff with the first class mage stuff. That was very cool. So it was worth the sacrifice. Him will go and be there. Who's that? Maybe Him was in hell. I don't know. And that'd be a fun twist. One thing that annoyed me, not from the show, but from society, is everyone fucking just like glazing Himmel all the time. Like, Frieren's like sweeter than Himmel. I'm hoping that we'll see more about like what really makes Himmel that bitch, because people are just like obsessed with, oh my God, Himmel's a hero. Himmel's so great. You travel with the great. No, bitch, Himmel traveled with me, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Himmel was with Frieren. He's just some boy. She is the sun.
It was heavy. Maybe it's just my band energy.
Maybe it's just the feminism in me, but also like Frieren's sweet as fuck. I feel like that does make me think Himmel must actually be like fucking sick with it. We just don't know yet.
So yeah.
But it's just like, so you're with him. Is he funny or something? Like,
I feel like where we last saw things, and the questions that I then have in my mind are, yes, one, I feel like this, good point, Himmel, Heider, and Eisen must have been like also those dudes, because fucking Frieren's sweet and they fucked with Frieren, like they rolled together, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't see any flashbacks of crazy stuff that they did, but that I have to imagine they did it. And then also Siri was fucking head mage when Frieren was just starting to learn magic, so like Siri must be fucking even sweeter.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And like, I want to see what she can do. What's gonna happen here? You know what I mean? Flamel, same idea. It's like Flamel taught Frieren. Like, I want to see some of the shit that she did, like in her later years, or when she was journeying or doing whatever. I'm sure there's like tons of magic spells that we haven't seen there. So I'm excited. Hopefully, and I don't know. I know season 2 is greenlit. I don't know what it's gonna be about. I imagine it'll be a very similar setup here, where it's like it's just gonna be about a story, and you're gonna get what you get, and I'm fine with that.
I like how Flame, or is it Flame or Flamel?
I think
it ends with an E, but I forget. I like that she's fucking, especially compared to Frieren, she's a fucking giant, and I love that. She's like a giant redheaded woman.
Yeah.
And she has like a very another thing I really like about the show is I like all of the character design and the clothes. Obviously it's like has what a lot of like cartoons have, anime's like in the cartoon realm, which is to say that everyone has like, the same outfit they wear all the time. But there are a couple deviations. I like Friren's little like weird brokey schmuck that she wears like to sleep.
But
like
she also, nightgown.
Yeah, her little nightgown. But she also wears it, I think, sometimes like just when she was younger. Like that was just the clothes she had. I don't know. She was poor. She's like, actually, it's designer, bitch. Like, you're poor.
Her village is burned down. She was.
Yeah. Like she gets her little smock on. But yeah, that smock is so cute. I'm sad because I had a dress that was similar to that, but it doesn't really fit me anymore. I tried putting it on, and I'm like, so I'm like, I think I have to just give this away. But yeah, and I like that she has her different like hairstyles. She has like the traditional one, but also the one where she's like asleep. And honestly, dead ass, I'm taking this to my salon. I am growing my hair out. I'm not gonna dye it gray or anything. I'm just gonna let time do that over time. But I think too, another reason I probably like Frieren is I think I love elves because of Jack and Daxter. Little pointy ears. Okay. I love these little pointy ear people. I feel like I'm at home with a good story and a good adventure when my little elf people are around.
Yeah.
Also too, I love that one chick from Metaphor. She's also an elf.
Oh yeah, Hulkenberg.
Yeah. The best people are elves.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're up there.
So
last year was all about elves. Is Loki.
Yeah.
I guess
Link also an elf, right? So it's like there's Link, right? He's an elf.
Yeah, I think so. He's got elf ears at least.
So there you go.
Some rendition. The last thing I'll say, kind of going with like where the story could possibly go. The things I want to know in season 2 or whatever we get next.
Oh, he's not an elf. He's Hylian. They just have long ears.
Okay.
The same shit. Sorry if that's offensive.
I think they left enough characters. They've introduced characters in season 1, and then like kind of they then branch off into their own stories. And I want to see more of them. Like the Craft, which is like the monk elf that they meet in that like winter cabin kind of thing. Yeah, the hot elf.
Friren's boyfriend.
Yeah, Friren's fake boyfriend.
Yeah.
I want to see what's up with him. He's apparently been around forever and also doing his own shit, and he's got
I'm sad they didn't
statues of him.
And that's why I was like, girl, like what's his name?
Get over Himmel.
What's his name? The Craft. Like Craft is here now. Like Himmel gonna be sitting up in heaven for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
She said that her species is in danger. I was like, oh, this is how they're gonna repopulate the earth with elves, even though she already said like we don't have like reproductive urges, which is why there's not more elves. And
then Sign as well, the like priest.
The priest guy, I was looking for his friend.
His friend Gorilla. Like I want to see what's up with that.
I like that too. And I think that's what's cool about the show as well. Like it doesn't follow like a more cliche trajectory, like the fact that they have like you think they're in the party, is gonna be the party, and then it's like nah, I'm actually about here. It's like okay, cool. And I think it makes like the time you spend with those people more exciting because it's like you don't know really how the cast is gonna develop. It's not without its tropes. They definitely have the Harry Potter didn't invent this, but the classic like Harry trio almost of like the 3 people and like 2 people are like frenemy lovers, like Fern and what's his name? Stark. It's like, okay, obviously like they're gonna be together or like they're the next situationship.
Yeah.
Of the world's lore.
Yeah. And they like allude to it. There's like one like episode where Stark needs to like pretend to be this prince who really died in battle for this king in order to like keep appearances and stuff.
That was so funny because they just pimped him out to this family basically.
They were like, we need the money.
Yeah, they're like, we're really broke. Can you do this? Like,
But yeah, it was like the little like dance that Stark and Fern had to do.
Yeah.
And she looked really beautiful. He was all dressed to the nine, and it was like, oh,
that's just Yule Ball, you know?
Yeah.
Again, Harry Potter did not invent that trope. That trope is very like classic, but Yeah, it did just kind of follow that a little bit.
So yeah.
So yeah, great show.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to read the manga now and just read it only up to the season, even though I don't know how that really works. If there's a way to cleanly do that or not.
I think because I think it's all like arc based kind of thing. So
see if there's extra content because I need more content. I also have plans to buy her earrings off Etsy. I think they're really cute. Or get gifted them by Isaiah. So
I guess this brings us to a good transition into the
what's next, right?
Last segment. Yeah, what's next for you? So
the spoilers are over for Frieren.
And the spoilers. Very curious to know, and I kind of asked you this before, but for the audience, you are open to more recommendations.
Yes,
that I can bring to the table, right?
Yeah.
What about this show would you want more of in like the next show? You know what I mean? Like what about this were you like, oh, if I could get more of that, fantastic.
I want more of all of it though.
I know, but it's and that is not undoable, but it is tougher. I'm not gonna lie,
everything. But if I have to be specific, I think the things I like most about the show are everything. But I want more badass fights. Magic ideal. I think I'm open to non-magical fighting. Again, we just keep using Dragon Ball Z because it's my only other real touch point. Like Dragon Ball Z isn't magic. I mean, they're powers, but they're not magic. So you don't need magic, but magic's a plus. More. Yes, that's my number one. Number two would be, I guess like the vibes. I like the vibes of Frieren, which is that kind of like slice of life, chill, cutesy time of them like walking around and shopping for books and making flowers and stuff like that. Like that's cool. Yeah, I guess those are my top two. I mean, again, everything about Frieren is just so good. And then sidebar, like need, that's technically number one, but it's not Frieren related. Like I don't want any of that weirdo. No weird shit.
Sure.
No weird shit. So what's that one anime you watched? The Kribo teacher? I don't want that.
Oh, Assassination Classroom?
Yeah, Assassination Classroom would not pass my Kribo exam. So keep that in mind. What that means for you. Because it's not the creepiest show on earth.
I guess.
But it's like, it's a little weird because what's his deal? He had like a weird deal.
I can't get his spoilers.
I guess it is spoilers. He had something weird about him.
Yeah.
He was getting he was a little strange. He was doing something strange with that change, So no, I don't want any weirdo stuff. I don't want to have to, and like, because I'm already dealing with that. I'm playing this Persona 5 thing. I'm already tired of this. Like, you can date these teachers. I don't want any of that.
What if, similar to Frieren, there's like
a couple jokes?
Yeah, or like a pocket of it, but it's not like an ongoing. It's not a through line.
I can do a couple jokes. I mean, even Dragon Ball Z has the little like young Goku looking up.
Oh yeah.
Whoever's skirt. I feel like that was just like a curious child and a little gaff. It wasn't like.
Okay.
Oh, she's dating the baby or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool,
I think
cool.
I trust your judgment on that.
Okay.
I think basically, if you ever at any point have to be like,
is this gonna be too much?
Well, I think a good check is like, is it the kind of show? Because I have this again. This Persona has this problem. Persona 5 specifically. It's like, oh, let me recommend this. But let me put this asterisk so you don't think I'm fucking weird. Gotcha. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you thinking bad about it. If you gotta do that, probably just throw that show out. Like, we get to that later.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think there's, for all of my goofs and gaffs, I think there are plenty of anime that doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just unfortunate that sometimes there are like banger things that have like toxic traits. But I'm coming in pretty cold, so I could just get to that later,
Sure.
I can start making excuses later. I can start, being good now.
Okay.
So that's an aside.
Okay. Man, I guess where I'm leaning is that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Okay.
It's an isekai. I'll give a 30-second pitch for all of these. It's an isekai. So this guy from the real world gets sort of transported to this fantasy world as a slime, and it's about him learning about the world, leveling up. It's like a video game kind of world. So there's like gaming kind of things to it. That's not, you level up, you like get experience by beating you like games, right?
I do like games. And I try to lead with that, but I do like games.
Similar to Frieren, it's like, okay, like, there's some badass people, and he he might be a badass himself. Who knows? You know, and it's about like fighting and finding out, and also like building this village. And like, there's like a lot of good characters in that same vein that like we got Frieren, we got Stark, we got this backstory between characters. You also kind of like develop characters in this.
I will accept your recommendation. However, I will say that I feel like a little kid that has to get dropped off at a new school because we moved, and you're like, hey, they have art classes. You love art. And I'm like, I miss Frieren. I want to go back to Frieren.
Okay. All right.
Now I'm still going to go to the new school because you got to go to a new school eventually.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel. I feel like a little kid.
I will say,
I think I want Frieren.
I think Slime is at the same tier as Frieren. You might like one more than the other. You know, somebody might like one more than the other, but I think they're at the same tier of just like good show. The next two are like right below that. Next one is Spy Family.
Okay.
30-second pitch is this orphan girl who has the ability to read minds, but she's like a little girl. She is adopted by this guy who is a spy, who does not know that she can read minds, but he's trying to keep his spyness secret from her. Like he's a secret spy. He's got his own objectives, and he adopts her as a part of one of his missions. And also to kind of keep with his cover, he fakes a relationship with this woman who's an assassin, who is trying to keep her assassin life separate from both her fake husband and their fake child. And so everyone has a secret role, a secret life, but none of them, well, the little girl knows that she can read their minds. And so she knows that her fake dad is a spy and her fake mom is an assassin, but they don't know. And everyone's trying to keep everything separate and safe and keep everyone safe, but they're going on hijinks. It's like a very friendly show. Like it's jokey jokes. It's cute. It's funny. I think you'd also like it. And it's more the cute stuff that happens, but there is like, I'm not gonna say action just because it's not like magic and fighting and stuff, but there's drama and like, you know, action movie type action to that show as well. So that's the second option. Just throwing it out there. Third one, this is the one that Jenny said that she's watching, Ranking of Kings, which is, I feel like, a mix between the two. It's got a little bit of that fantasy vibe where you follow this boy Boji, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's got like this little like shadow friend, and Boji is the son of the king who passed away, and his older brother and stepmom are kind of like in charge a little bit, and he's going on his own adventure to try and find his place in the world. But there's still like evil afoot to a degree, and like there's still like magical beings who are kind of like getting in his way and stuff like that. But he's a mute kid, and so like a lot of the talking is actually his like little shadow friend. And like they go on an adventure trying to, you know, he's trying to become king or find his place as king because he's the first son, but he's like really weak, and his dad was this like giant beastie king man who
he's Atreus.
Defeat anyone. A little bit, except if Atreus had a shadow, if Mimir was with Atreus, and
which I think happens briefly in the spoilers for God of War Ragnarok, at one point,
and Atreus was weaker, but still cool because of the way he could use the skills he had. You have a very like, if you took that and you like squinted really hard, you have a little bit of Ranking of Kings going on.
When I take my glasses off, it's pretty good. All right.
So I think those are the three I bring to the table. I don't know if any of those very quick 30-second.
I'll probably just go top down based on that. What's the length of these?
Slime has, I want to say 2 or 3 seasons. There actually might be a 4th and I just haven't watched it yet or something like that. I think season 1 alone, if you watch that, I'd be like, cool, we can move on to something else after that. It's fairly isolated. Although season 2 is good. Ranking of Kings, there is a season 1, and I think season 2 is like coming soon or dropping soon, airing now, something like that. Spy Family, I think it's just ongoing. I think there might be like 3-4 seasons of it. I've only gotten through like a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons of it. I'll either
go just top down, or I might just go on shortest to longest, which would be Ranking of Kings, and then Spy Family, and then the other one. So I don't know which way I'll go yet.
Okay.
But
all right. This is to be determined.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready yet to start another thing yet.
I feel like
second.
I feel like I'm like, right? I'm like, when are you ready? Because I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. I guess maybe I could be ready because it would be nice to watch something while I eat again. But
it would be nice.
It's tough.
You can't go just like with Frieren. I don't want you to go into it though fighting an uphill battle here. You know what I mean? Like I need you in a open mind space. Like I need you to be willing to.
My mind's open. It's
new
just
show.
Sad. Is that okay? Can I be sad?
You can be sad, but don't be sad to the point where you're closing off on this.
I'm
new
not
show.
closed off. It's just like I'm just a little sad because I miss Frieren. I miss my friend Frieren.
Well, we'll see.
But,
we'll report back, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see when Netflix is gone right now from our household, so that has opened me up, I guess, a bit to things. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess knowing how I feel about the length aspect, do you think I should still just go with Spy Family?
I think Slime. Is going to be...
Oh, right. That was the first one, actually.
Yeah,
Slime,
I think Slime might be the closest to a Frieren.
Yeah, I've also heard, like, somebody else at one point said, like, the words, the time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Slime was my Frieren before I watched Frieren.
And I think they said it positively, but I don't really remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember who this was or what, but I'm like, I think I've heard someone say something about
said it positively.
Being a slime at some point. Like, I don't know.
Also, I think Slime is if you took Frieren but gave it more action. So I think, like, that's even better.
Also, I just want to shout out Delicious in Dungeon. I know a lot of people really love, and that was like, people were standing that, and I'm sure a lot of people were like, you should watch that. I started it, and I kind of maybe just ended too before I got to the juice, because I was like, this is cool, but I wasn't like obsessed with it. I'm like, this little adventure, nice little adventure. It was very inoffensive to me, but it didn't like light my world on fire. Maybe if I stayed a little longer, I'd be talking about it like I'm talking about Frieren.
Okay.
So I do need to go back to that. Is that on Crunchyroll? I know they have it on Netflix. Yeah, which not I'm gonna go back to Netflix at some point because I actually do love Netflix, but I want to be careful about the problem that everyone else has, which is like you have so many things, and it's like, where am I actually like spending my time though, and how can I get the most of my time for my money, kind of thing. So, yeah. So I'll go back and clean that up just to because it's also pretty short too. But
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
We got it.
And that brings us to poll of the show. Like I alluded to before, we have our new and fantastic poll system this year, which is like a Google form setup that kind of gives us more flexibility. So what we've been doing the last couple weeks, and last week was the same, was sort of putting up our answers for the time capsule for different consoles, but also allowing people to like write in with their own like F these options, like we're doing. I'm going rogue or whatever. And we have some results for that. So for the N64, it was is over majority, I guess.
Majority,
I wouldn't say overwhelmingly, but the majority was on the right side of history. Has Super Mario 64. Let's go. Also, a lot of love for Ocarina of Time, rightfully so.
And Banjo.
Banjo, yeah. A little surprised to see as much love for Banjo. Ocarina makes sense. I think it's so tough, but like I still think we made the right decision. But I do wish we were more like into Ocarina, because I think if we had played it more, it could have been our Minish Cap kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because I know that's really good, but I don't think anything's gonna hurt me from Mario 64. For the PlayStation 1, Sony's PlayStation console. Sony's coming out with a new console, y'all. It's called the PlayStation. It's crazy.
Wow.
This one was much more split. It was like super split.
Yeah.
There were 4 different 20% and then a couple 10s. Final Fantasy VII made an appearance.
Yeah. I think technically that is the lead, because I think it was some wrote in Final Fantasy the number 7 and Roman
you're right.
7.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So it split its own vote.
Yes, so that's the majority, because you have to combine that with with the other 20. So yeah, the 40% then, I guess, if that math is correct. I forgot to shout this out. Again, y'all know that we're 7 Rebirth haters. I think we both like remake a good amount though.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah, so which is weird because
than me, but
the game is like it's split across 3 games, so it's like I like part of it. I don't know. Obviously, it has. Frankly, my negative feelings of Rebirth made me think, let me just abandon this whole remake trilogy thing and just go back to the source. Because I feel like the source. I want to play it. I feel like people have nothing but good things to say about the source. I have it on Switch.
Really?
But I'm sure you'd prefer it probably on other means.
Yeah,
you seem like another means kind of man. So
we'll see.
Yeah, but that's a cool one. I regret not remembering that was on there and to shout it out because it definitely has its fans. RE2 also had some presence.
Yeah. Tony Hawk has some
as well in there. We had one person say Spyro the Dragon. And I see you.
That's impressive. All right.
I see you and I acknowledge you.
Yeah.
I will say I loved Spyro back in the day. Replaying it now, I'm kind of like, I think this was more like a fun thing that I did. Like it feels like to me, and I still want to finish my replay on they have like a remake trilogy that's available on modern consoles. Couple things with that. One, I think Ripto's Rage is the best of that for the trilogy. And I think that's probably still true to me now. But two, it kind of felt like playing it now, it kind of feels like the vibes it's more of a vibes game than a like, wow, they ate with this one kind of thing. Because I think the vibes are very strong and high in the design and all that. And like the rescuing the dragons and you get to run around and ram stuff. Has a lot of style and flavor there. But I feel like the mechanics don't really feel as good as I remember them feeling. Kind of thing. But yeah, shout out to Spyro. I definitely think there are stands out there, Our buddy Neen's the big Spyro stan.
Yeah.
And I think Spyro's got a lot of swag to him. He's got a lot of good energy.
Yeah. It's one of the games that I've played like segments of, but I've never played even remotely close to a start to finish kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need to have a mental breakdown to go back and play those games, but I feel like it's a good I feel like that is probably other people's like Jack and Daxter low key, even though I think Jack and Daxter is like a much better game than Spyro. Like just genuinely, I think that. But I feel like the way I love that game for other people, it's Spyro. They're like, oh my God, I love Spyro.
Well, you boot that up too, man.
I'll tell you one thing: Spyro versus Portal 2. You ain't standing a chance, Spyro. But that's because Portal 2 is so good. It's not even because Spyro is. Even though I do think Spyro is a little bit weaker. But I still want the fact that I like feel that way, but still want to go and finish it. I think is a testament to like what is there. It's got a lot of heart. To it, I think Spyro. For the Nintendo GameCube, you wrote these so like the full government names. The Nintendo GameCube, the new Nintendo console.
This is split between Super Smash Bros. Melee and Resident Evil 4. So
I got to go back and finish RE4 also. So shout out to RE4.
Man. Yeah, that game is really good. The new one at least. I don't know how the old one. I don't know how it can.
It's like kind of same different. I mean, obviously, I think you should just play the most remade one, but like. Before that, the GameCube one was
I heard
that,
like the
what I mean?
one,
yeah. Shout out to NBA Street Love. We love NBA Street. And Metroid Prime. I forgot, did we talk much about Metroid Prime at the time?
I think we mentioned it. I never played it.
We gave a nod to it.
I think we, at most kind of give a nod.
I more, I don't think I actually gave it a nod, which I lightly regret. I do want to go back and play it. The Switch Prime remaster or whatever is available. I think I even have it. Metroid Prime was more of a game I watched be played than I played. I watched Edwin play it a good amount. I was in my I hate first person era, so that's why I didn't really want to play it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm like, why? What?
I can look out in real life.
I don't what? Oh, it's like, and then the cam. What? I was just like very like not into the idea. It's also because like I think at the time. Obviously, I play a lot of first-person games now. I don't feel that way now about first-person games. I love walking simulators. They're first-person games exclusively. But at the time, I also associated first-person with just shooters. And I kind of thought of Metroid Prime in a way as like a shoot. I'm like, I don't know, guns again.
I mean, I think it is a shooter, right?
Why so violent? Yeah, it is. But I think if you, it's one of those things where if I said like, almost like the hot dog sandwich vibe. It's like if I said, recommend me the best shooters, and you said Metroid Prime, I'd be like, sure. You know what I was actually asking you for, and I wasn't asking for Metroid Prime. That's why I kind of. But yes, it is like it is a shooter in a sense. It's like a Portal. It's like now you're just being it's a little bit on that vein. But yeah, great game. GBA, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance.
King reigns supreme.
I love towards Fusion. Yeah, 30% of the vote. I love Fusion. So as you know from our pick, but Tony Hawk. Pro Skater got also some love on the GBA. That's why I fell in love with it. I realized I don't actually it's funny, again, I know I said it on the episode, but like realizing playing those remakes on modern consoles, I'm like, why am I awful at this game? It's because I really played the GBA one.
Yeah.
Yeah, some Superstar Saga love as well. Mario Luigi Superstar Saga.
A little Harvest Moon.
Advance Wars.
That
was a huge thing there.
That's one I have and I need to play.
I do think with the Harvest Moon love, one thing we're missing from our time capsule is that like sim vibe. Like I know
Stardew
ripped to Animal Crossing on GameCube specifically. I know it's like Kelsey's kind of the, I think it's fair to say that's the one kind of vibe. I
saw there was one on the DS, but I never played it, so I couldn't even
people love that one too as well.
Vouch for it, you know what I mean?
I got to go back and play those old Animal Crossing games.
Yeah.
As I'd say like kind of like a modern Animal Crossing stan. I know a lot of the hardcore is like the real juices at that old stuff. PS2, shout to the person with the 10%, the Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
Dominated by, I guess in a way, GTA.
Yeah.
But it also had like Kingdom Hearts sort of appeared in weird ways.
Yeah.
For these write-ins, so that kind of like
and I guess it's mostly my fault, right? Because I put the option as Kingdom Hearts 2 / Final Fantasy X.
Oh, okay. So you were
and so there were people who were like, no, I fuck with the Kingdom Hearts part, but not that Final Fantasy. Yeah. And there were people who were like, oh no, fuck the Final Fantasy. I fuck with the Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it split its own vote. I split the vote inadvertently, but it's funny enough. There was a option for Final Fantasy separate from the combined, and there was an option for Kingdom Hearts separate from the combined. So it's like, well, it ended up look, we got the same plays, we just went a different route. All right.
Someone actually wrote in again, casting us just Final Fantasy X. Putting it with Kingdom Hearts is diabolical is the writing, which I think is funny. Take it up with Isaiah.
I understand. We're gonna simplify these votes from now on.
Kingdom Hearts 2 also with some. There's a lot of Kingdom Hearts nods in here, kind of split across. And also a shout out to Colossus nod. I think that's definitely a big game. I never really rock with Shadow of the Colossus. I know it had its like it kept getting remastered and remade.
We have the remaster. I want to play it.
Every time I kept going back, I was like,
I'm afraid that I'm gonna get lost and like be kind of bored because I don't know where to go.
I found it kind of like obviously again Shadow of the Colossus has like a lot of love, but like I found myself like bored and meandering. I was kind of just like, I don't know what's going on here. I guess this is one of the Colossi I read I'm climbing. I kind of just felt like I felt out of tune with the game. I'm open to going back, but I fear I'd be going back just to damn it even more, kind of vibe. Maybe it's just not my vibe, Shadow of the Colossus. And then finally Xbox. Yep, Halo.
This is overwhelming.
All the Halo love. Yep, 70%. Shout out to the Jade Empire getting a shout as well. I know a lot of people vibe with that. Fable as well. I feel like I don't think I really mentioned much about. Did we talk much about Fable during that conversation? I feel that was kind of missing from our conversation because I did go back on modern console to play a bit of Fable, but I didn't really see it through, so I didn't have a lot to say about it. But I do regret not like giving it a nod.
Gotcha.
I'm very early into my journey with Fable. And frankly, because the new Fable's coming out, I might just be like,
sure.
You know what? I never got around to it. Whatever. Yeah. But I was pretty impressed with what I saw in Fable. And I know like for a lot of people, I forgot when Fable 2 came out, because I know it's a lot of people's like other kind of it kind of gets like split up in there. Yep. But I thought it had like a lot of personality and charm and intrigue in there. Definitely was, even in that early snippet of Fable that I did play, I'm like, I get the stands, you know what I mean? Like it made sense. For optional shots, the Beyond Good and Evil needs to be in the time capsule somewhere.
I never played it. It's one of those games where I feel like if I did play it, I would really love it.
I think so too. I think it also has like a lot of charm and vibe. Almost like when I went back and finally played, what's that game Blessing's obsessed with?
Klonoa?
No. Cloud. Dark Cloud.
Oh, I thought he was also obsessed with Klonoa.
Is he? I don't think he is.
Klonoa's the one with the big like
the cat
blue cat thing. Right?
It's not a blue cat. No, are you thinking of Sonic? And how there's
maybe I'm
something?
Picturing the Sonic cat.
Yeah, because I'm like Klonoa's like the ears kind of. It's like a platformer.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think Bless is really like a platformer boy like that. Like in the way that I am. I mean, he plays them.
Dark Cloud, I think.
But yeah, Dark Cloud is like one of his big things. And I remember playing that as a kid but I was like really lost, and I played like 5 minutes of it. I'm like, I don't understand what this game is. And then going back as an adult, I'm like, yeah, this is like really cool. It almost was like, not literally, I feel like I'm mashing up the genre, so maybe I shouldn't speak too much on it because I don't really know what I'm talking about, but like almost like Cult of the Lamb before Cult of the Lamb, because it had that, it had like that like structure of like you're going into like these like areas and then you're coming back and there's the town, and like again, I might be really fucking that up, so I'm just gonna stop here before I like misspeak on Dark Cloud. But I remember playing a little bit of it and being like, oh yeah, there's like some interesting stuff going on here.
I always thought it looked like the Dot Hack games. I don't know.
I know a lot of people love those too. I never played those.
Yeah. I played a couple of them. They're really fun.
Those have their stands as well. Let's see other things to shout out. People just giving a nod to the impact of Final Fantasy VII Kingdom Hearts. They don't really rock with them, but being like, yeah, they're someone who kind of wrote in to be like, respect on the game. Someone said, I used to be an Xbox hater back in the day, but finally played Halo 1 through 3 the past 10 years. I get it now. Halo CE?
Combat Evolved.
Okay, see, okay. Is now one of my favorite games. Also, it's a toss-up between Ocarina of Time and Banjo on the N64. Love both of them. Yeah, you should definitely check out Banjo, but I don't think you're gonna
try this Banjo, man.
You're not like the big, I don't think like platformer stand. Again, you're not like a stan of platformers. Obviously you love Mario and stuff, like, but everyone can love Mario. Yeah. So it's like kind of like whatever. You're not like a platformer sicko like I am, but I think you'll be like, okay, I can kind of see what's here, even if you don't end up, I don't know. I'm very curious what you'll feel about it, because you're also like anti-old games. Again, I think for an old game, I don't think it's nearly as good as Mario 64, but I think it might control in a way that you like more than Mario 64.
Okay.
So I'm curious what I want to see you face Banjo.
All right.
And tell me what you think of Banjo. But yeah, I love Banjo.
Yeah. I'll once I'm done trying to get into this Ocarina of Time again, I'll
we got a lot of old stuff to go back into. We'll definitely do, I think maybe it'll be a long down the line, because we also like to space out like vibes on episodes a lot, so I don't think we'll hit retro games for a while after doing this big time capsule kind of excursion. But I definitely want to go back and do like an episode where we make like a retro list, and then eventually come back and like talk about some of those games that we've been playing. But so poll the show, always at gamesandnotgames.com/poll, and this week same deal, rocking with the time capsule, I presume. Maybe you can throw some anime stuff in there if you want.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. We'll be asking the same. You saw what games we picked today, what options we brought. Again, given the rest of the time capsule that we have so far, we're trying to build the best collection that we can, given within our rules, almost like the magic within Frieren. Definitely let us know which games you would have picked, and I agree. I think eventually, I know even someone wrote in about like, oh, it's possibly doing this for like PC games and stuff like that. I think,
that'd be great. Yeah, especially
that'd be cool.
We're missing a lot of that indie scene. I think if you can, we don't never want to make the poll forums too long. Where
I know
get
that's
tired.
like a really challenge.
See if you can integrate some anime stuff, because like maybe y'all rocking with Frieren. Does this make you want to watch like something with that, and then like maybe a space for just people to. I mean, people can always write in whatever. If you have, I know when I talked about Frieren, I posted one post on my BlueSKy, and people were like, "Oh, you should watch this thing," or like, "I love Frieren too," or like, "Fuck Frieren, she got funny ankles," or whatever. Like whatever you got to say.
I mean, eventually we could. The Google Forms allows it. We could also start, throwing around the idea of a games poll and a not games poll.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun.
We could do that.
Well, we'll brainstorm. You'll see after you listen to this, when you go to gamesandnotgames.com/poll, what we went with.
Yeah, hell yeah. But that's it for this week. You can also send your questions and topics to the email inbox@gamesandnotgames.com if you're like, you know what, I don't want to do all this poll stuff. You can just email. Yeah. But I also like how people have been adding in show thoughts or to show ideas. We've been noting those down in our Trello board as well. So thanks for that. But yeah, you can follow the podcast version of this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. And if you enjoy the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
5 stars.
You want to say it, don't you?
What is it?
Cinco Diamantes. From Ocean's 13, I think.
Yeah. And if you're an audio listener, remember you can get the video version over on YouTube at Games and Not Games. If you like the video, be sure to leave us a like and a comment, as it helps us get in front of more people. Give us a follow on social medias. We're on pretty much everywhere at Games and Not Games. mostly BlueSKy, Twitch, which I think we are. Do we have? I think we have
Twitch
plans to do some Twitch stream after Mario Day.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay,
But
we talked about playing, doing some catch up games, but
yeah, I definitely want you to. If you're down, you should do Banjo on this. I want to see you fight Banjo.
All right, yeah, sure.
That's not what the game's about. But
I was gonna say,
get in
what?
there and fight this bear.
It's Kazooie versus Banjo. So yeah, definitely go over and follow us there. And anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, until next time, gang.
Gang gang.
Peace.